Well, let us therefore get into the new information that has been released earlier today, which is most probably going to be put in plenty of the information from the leak, if you have seen it a few days ago, to some proper context. As for information that leak, I saw it, I have the video of it, but nonetheless I decided not to make any kind of content because it's not supposed to be public. It's an old version, not too much old, but simply not polished, so it's not representative, and therefore it will be just like sending all kinds of wrong messages. Unfortunately, of course, it's all over the internet and people are already not having opinions on that, but in the end they don't seem to be too negative, so yeah, well, doesn't seem like it's gonna be doing too much of a real damage just for people like us who actually know a bit about the game. It was raising all kinds of flags there, but seems like maybe those are not gonna be entirely too relevant, luckily. No, I guess let's therefore get here into the interview that has been released about Ara, History Until. By the way, that's also a game I'm looking forward to. That's a bit of like a civilization-like game. I like those types, so maybe also interesting for you to look at. But we're here, of course, for Age of Mythology, so I guess let's maybe have a look at it. Gonna be having to figure out the sound here and the volume.
We return to you now as the gods of mankind.
All right, let us continue our super special strategy episode now with Age of Mythology Retold.
And as you can see, we've had a bit of a wardrobe change. Here's a sneak peek behind the scenes here. We don't film these interviews on this thing.
Yeah, we tried to, but I was being too much of a diva and I needed rest.
You really were.
Yeah, but we are joined by some guests, who are new guests here today. We have Ernest and Emma. How are you two doing from the World's Edge team?
Good, thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. All right, for people who are watching for the first time, tell us what you do, who you are, all that good stuff.
Sure. Hi, I'm Emma Bridle. I'm Director of Player Engagement at World's Edge, which basically means I'm thinking about all the ways that we're building relationships with our players, whether that's
so the absolutely invisible department.
Or features or
Nobody
esports.
ever
Our
notices
community have
anywhere
been
in
with
the
us a long
community.
time. We're going on 27
Sorry
years
to
as
say.
a franchise. They're very, very important to us. They're the heartbeat of what we do, and so I'm just constantly thinking about how we build those relationships, keep those relationships good, and keep them with us as we move forward into the future.
Well, love that. Ernest.
And I'm Ernest Yuan. I'm Senior Director of Production at World's Edge. What that really means is I get to work with all the different production teams to build Edge games together. Yes, best job ever. It is amazing. And the running joke in our team is I've been around for more than a quarter century. In fact, the original Age of Empires 1 program manager is the person who hired me into the game industry.
Oh, they're proud of you.
So
cool.
I'm going to dive right in because I'm super excited. So you've brought some exclusive, never before seen footage. But before we get into that, for people who might not be familiar with Age of Mythology, tell us about Retold.
Okay, so I'm going to strip it back for Malik and anyone else who is new to strategy because we want to make them comfortable.
All ears.
So Age of Mythology Retold is a real-time strategy game, and it's set in the world of mythology where you've got humans living alongside monsters, living alongside gods. So you want to pick a pantheon, and in the base game we've got the Norse, the Atlanteans.
Yeah, that's what
the
we have seen in the
Greeks,
trailer
and the
here, all the
Egyptians.
pictures.
You'll pick gods. Goddesses, deities that you want to pay tribute to, and they'll bless you with their powers as you build up your civilization and work towards battling to victory. So it's this fantastical, chaotic, magical world that you get to control and you get to steer, and it's really, really exciting. So.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about Showcase, right? New trailer, Showcase. What can you recap for us what we saw, and why should Age of Mythology fans be excited?
Right, so we showed the trailer, which we are super proud of, and this is the very first time we get to show in-game footage of the Age of Mythology Retold. And yep, finally people get to see what the game looks like in motion, so very, very happy to be able to show that to the world. And we have
really
also
was sped up.
announced
I'm pretty
that,
certain that it was
is
all
not
sped
that
up
far
based
off.
also on
Our
some kind
launch
of
date is September
other footage and
4th,
whatnot.
like coming up soon, so
You didn't
very,
entirely do it all
very
that much of a
happy
service, to be
about that
honest.
as well. And pre-orders are now available.
Ooh, so get your pre-orders in.
Already
Definitely.
started.
What are y'all waiting for?
Yeah, and this is the first title that for us we're launching day one PC and Xbox. So we brought
That's
H2 and
huge.
H4
They
to
supposedly
console, but we
also
brought
wanting to
them
be
post
and want to
the
be
PC.
launching
Sure.
on
This is day
PlayStation
one,
like next
both
year.
platforms,
Age of
find it in
Empires
Game
2.
Pass, find it on console, find it on PC,
Possibly
and
even
everyone can play
Mythology.
together
So
from day one.
That's
interesting.
amazing. I'm so excited.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, I feel like console fans have always been because we have the restrictions of the controller, so to speak.
Yeah.
You all did a great job with Age of Empires, but it's always been a thing. Like the input of a
Yeah.
controller is not as easy for those games as a keyboard and mouse, for example.
We basically brought Age of Empires 2 and Age of Empires 4 to
Right.
the console. So honestly, they took a lot of work to
Frankly,
get it to the place
those
that,
console
and,
ports are very
and
well
I'm
received,
very, very
and they
happy
seem to be
see that
therefore
our
very well
fans
done, so
felt
that's
that
not
we
entirely that much of a concern. So
were
it's probably going to be
successfully
solid
being
quality
able
even
to
in
bring
Age of
out
Mythology.
RTS working really well on console. And we are now taking all those learnings and applying them to both the PC and the Xbox version of Age of Mythology Retold. So for example, in the console version, one of the innovation that we did is what we call the villager priority system. So what that does is,
Okay, so we have some first thing here. So the top on the left side, and I was actually thinking, and we were showcasing the user interface on the video that I was uploading on Sunday. Then I was thinking it might be for a Titan, but in the end, that's actually something for like an automatic distribution of villages coming from console, from Xbox, and it's gonna be apparently even in the PC version, which is very strange. But I guess, well, hopefully it's not gonna be anything really efficient. Shouldn't be, usually those systems aren't, so real competitive players are probably not gonna be affected by that all that much, but it's simply gonna be like how many villages you want to be having on wood, food, gold, so that kind of distribution. And the Titan Gate is gonna be probably in the middle in there, it looks like. This is just some kind of like showcase or whatnot, so from the devs, doesn't seem like that anybody else really got to play it too much. I think there are some like newspapers and journalists that actually had that. We are gonna be having a look at one article that has been already released that I have noticed. No, and otherwise, what do we see here therefore? User interface we have already seen. You can see right now, FPS to the top. Let's gonna maybe see if we're gonna be seeing some kind of drops maybe. And we are going to be having, of course, the score, huge because you are having just doctored resources, right? Interesting that we do have the rain right about now. We are playing, of course, Ra. But interesting is that it doesn't have any pips next to it like a multi-use so far. That's something we need to be keeping an eye on. By the way, on the left side, that's going to be there for the list of control groups to the top, the plus. And then it's going to be like the upgrades underway on the left side. Or potentially units being made, buildings being constructed probably as well, I guess. So it's similar to the other Ds, how it works. Otherwise, you can see to the bottom, Pharaoh is empowering. That's gonna be kind of like the effect. I'm very much worried about the effects for the games and for the game because that's a huge performance eater in the other DEs and Age of Empires 4. The particle effects are brutal. They really are not optimized at all, or I don't know if they even can be optimized, but they like to use them because they kind of look cool. And now that's probably something you're not gonna be seeing too much if I'm even gonna be able to stream this, because also the requirements for the game that we have seen on Xbox page on Sunday, they actually weren't actual, and it seems like they changed it later into practical Age of Empires 3DE. So if you can run Age of Empires through 3DE, you're gonna be able to play this probably as well. It's the same engine, so logically. So yeah, that's a bit harder on the computers. And I'm very much worried about team games, and no, I don't know if I would be even able to stream that, but we're gonna have to see, I guess. It's gonna be a bit more optimized or not. Otherwise, the UI, we have already kind of talked about all of that. Can say right now that's gonna be the score here to the bottom. The left side, that's also same icon in Age of Empires 2. Not sure what's the food, really, too much at this point. Otherwise, there's gonna be like a different version on the hammers to the bottom. Different version of the minimap, I guess. Flare, of course. Rotation, zoom. Everything fairly standard. No, I've actually noticed that that message somewhere. That they reduced supposedly team games into 8 players from 12. But where has it been actually posted? Because still Xbox store page is showing 8, or the 2 to 12 still. So if you have a link for that, that would be nice. But if they do, that's gonna be very sad, because Age of Mythology was one of the rare games with a higher amount of players actually allowed in that. Okay, that's going to be right now this. Oh wow, actually really. Okay, let me have a look at this point so I can showcase it to you. So it's apparently, because it's not in the English site, it's not that. This is right now translated from Dutch. So we are going to be having at this point, somewhere to the south it was. You play with up to 7 friends. Oh, wow. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, somebody was posting that Age of Empires 3 is having only 8 players limitation, so it might be because of that. Or simply performance is not entirely there. So yeah, that's very bad news. That's very, very bad news. Because I mean, like, you were often having big 4v4 team games, and even with more players, free-for-alls especially. So no. Yeah, so no 12 players anymore. Sad. Sad panda. But it's a bit interesting actually that it's here. In-game purchases, as you mentioned, that's gonna be in-game shop. I'm very much scared of that. Seems like they're gonna be heading into very aggressive monetization with the game. All 4 scenarios is not gonna be entirely too great, that is true. No, but nonetheless, it apparently therefore is looking like true. That no 12 players anymore. Not great. Up to 120 FPS. No, okay. So thank you for the message, Ezekiel boy. Yeah, the villages I've also seen that there's gonna be a different number. So far with the population limit, we haven't entirely seen much of an increased detail. Currently, as you can see, chickens, that's gonna be the same, double color, berries, rotated temple, because you can see it's definitely rotated based on where the statue is heading. Or at least is it? Oh, this is actually the... Okay. No, maybe it's not rotated. At this point I don't entirely remember if you are having different positions of the statue and where they're facing, but it seems to be somewhat normal, so probably. Whatever. You're gonna be most probably able to rotate buildings as you are in Age of Mythology anyway. Deer here to the top, or rather elks actually, and Pharaoh having some kind of circle around him, signifying that he's a hero. Not entirely certain if he needs to be that hardcore, but whatever. Kind of the texture of the ground. Not entirely certain if I'm that much of a fan of it, but nonetheless, I guess it's gonna be somebody's preference. Fairly close second TC, by the way. Just a confirmation, because people were also asking if you are gonna be still continue with the TCs or if they're gonna be free. Now we are continuing with normal TCs, you can see on the minimap. This is Alfheim, it looks like. Doesn't seem to be having such a nice green color as the original. I'm very disappointed with that because it's my favorite map. But yeah, you also can be seeing that there are relics on the map. 1 to 4 apparently. Which is oh well, yeah, it's kinda alright for an Alfheim actually on 1v1. Already, oh wow, they actually are already showing that they have bad map spawns. If you look at the right, there is a gold mine locked off beyond the mountains here to the right. So if somebody was worried about quality of the maps, you don't have to be anymore. They're gonna be crap, as they always are with the remasters and with them, so sad story. Well, there we go. I mean, like, even if community is having great maps and great skillers on how to make them, for some reason they just like always insist on having worse spawns than anything created by the community. I don't understand why, but it's just like a thing with them, with the DEs, for whatever reason. So, well, yeah, that's that. It's a fairly heavy spawn. If it's an Alfheim though, it's a very heavy spawn of resources. It seems like it's having tons of hunt. Like really, Alfheim is not that hunt heavy. There's gonna be some berries here. Like one hunt, maybe berries further here. Another hunt in the middle. Yeah, that seems to be a bit higher resource, to be honest. And millions of gold mines is also quite extreme for Alfheim. 3, 6, 10, 12 gold mines? Jesus Christ. 12 gold mines for 1v1. Usually 1v1s are having 4 per player or 3. Ghost Lake is having 2 per player, for example, variants, but mostly 3 to 4 per player. And right now they're having 6 per player. No, I'm not a fan of that too much. Because it also prolongs games, by the way. Just in case somebody wasn't entirely all that maybe thrilled about the late game. So yeah, that's kind of what you can probably see from here so far. Nothing too entirely specific. Interesting to be having 1000 favor, by the way. That's very interesting, actually. That's actually an interesting point there. If it's not kind of like edit through some cheat or simply console, that might be meaning that we are unlocked on favor. Can't say without some kind of further information what it could be used to, if it's gonna be a good idea or not so far. Okay, I guess let's continue.
Said what the villagers do, so they can actually go take care of some of those tasks for you. So, for example, you want some of them to go over to go get the food, some of them to go get
Yeah,
the
they have
wood,
Brazilian
so
mining
on, they will
camp.
go-
That's also a true classic corner. And it's actually even touching the gold mine, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, Brazilian mining camp. No, nonetheless, we have right now UI here on the left side. Town center 2400, that is standard, right? That's not different. Okay, I'm gonna be also launching the game. I want to be seeing like exact comparisons of the things to have an understanding how much they potentially changed with the balance. Otherwise, we can see, of course, classic Villagers, priest, mercenaries, sure, okay. Huh. So it seems like that Titan Gate is not going to be like an extra age, but rather an upgrade. That's a bit weird, but in the end, kind of who cares, I guess. No, I'm gonna be having to look at the hit points. At this point, I'm just like, I'm not having... If you woke me up in the middle of the night, I couldn't tell you any numbers. I can just kind of tell in the kind of like context of the game I'm casting. Then I'm gonna be knowing it, but otherwise not really. So that's why I want to be launching the game to have a look. Otherwise, therefore, yeah, Titan Gate seems like it's gonna be like an upgrade only. Masons and fortified TC probably. Yeah, that's gonna be something like that, I guess. Let's back to work maybe. Oh, bell of course through bottom, delete. And this one, not sure, maybe somebody remembers. Not entirely certain what are the cows here. What is that supposed to be meaning? Farms there? So are you gonna be calling cows through TC? And this is gonna be like auto placement of farms? That you're gonna be basically clicking on that and they're gonna be auto placed around? Something like that's the hotkey currently, no, that's hotkey in Age of Empires 4. And in Age of Empires 2 it has been added. That's okay, Assam. We're gonna be here probably for like 2 hours, so so thank you. Yeah, I'm not entirely certain what those hotkeys could be even like meaning, but it seems like it's gonna be some probably automatism, really. Probably this is gonna be like collect resources from villages, maybe. This is gonna be like calling cows through TC, and this is just like what I can imagine. Automatic farms around. I have no idea. Could be completely wrong. No idea whatsoever. Interesting is no auto-queue hotkey, by the way. Let's keep an eye on that, because that is already and has been a bit of a talk. Why would this be console version when you have Alt plus Z, Alt plus X, when you have like PC hotkeys here? This does not look like a console version, really. So this is gonna be probably PC version, and I think that has been already talked that the automatization of the villages has been kind of like was planned to be added here. Okay, let me right now launch the game and have the direct comparisons of the numbers so that we don't kind of talk of our arses. Let's compare with our latest patch on Woobly. I guess that's gonna be somewhat relevant. Okay, I'm gonna be right about now having to turn that off. So TC is gonna be 2400. I probably just gonna want to be getting into some tech tree, right? Okay, we are right now. Why is it showing Atlantean TC? Why is it technically showing Atlantean TC at 2100? Like, am I gonna just gonna have to launch a game here with those? Yeah, okay, that's gonna be better. Okay, so let's gonna go with those, or well, we can just gonna have Ra, of course, selected as the same as an telemeter. Can say now, so 2800 hit points, so they are gonna be really going lower here. Interesting. So lower base HP for the town center, 45% melee, 90 pierce. A hack is gonna be 44, 95. So you can see there are some kind of tweaks already going on. 10% crash, that's gonna be the same. So small tweaks are already present. Pierce damage seems to be the same at 12. Okay, let me also right now increase that. Sorry for it. 1 and 2, that's gonna be like extra projectiles, I guess. Then 20 range, that's gonna be the same. And 25 capacity, that seems somewhat alright. I guess should be somewhat alright, probably. So yeah, already we can see a few tweaks. Lower HP TCs. No, anybody's guess what it's gonna be doing to the game. It's gonna be, of course, making it easier to probably classify them, therefore, with lower hit points. So that might be making second TC potentially a bit weaker as a gameplay variant. No, that depends how it's gonna be implemented, player. And, well, yeah. No, people who watch me stream Age of Empires 2 know that there is a reason I don't use it in the game. And it's not just performance. It is also having some ethical reasons right there. But we probably won't be able to get away around it, so probably will have to be getting used to it.
We'll do that for you, so you can concentrate on building units to go better.
Okay. There was that message. Here, you're gonna be seeing it badly, but again, I recommend watching with me on high quality on the video if you can. So, labor 50, food, that's the same, 1 pop, same-ish, but build unit is gonna be 100. So, instead of 80, it's gonna be the 200, which, frankly, for an Egyptian, who the hell in any kind of world cares about villages for Egi? You're gonna be reaching 80, and at that point, you are switching into trade, and you are actually interested in reducing the amount of wills. So, why? That's my big question. Second big question is, if this is supposed to be for non-competitive players, for example, some random casuals, sorry if it's gonna be offending somebody, but it's just kinda how it is, and I'm making such a distinction. So, sorry if it offends you, but that's not meant that way. Simply players that are not hardcores like us, those people do not even reach those 80 most of the time. They're gonna be stuck somewhere at like 50 villages. Maybe AutoQ is gonna be bringing them to the pop limit, and that's it. But otherwise, like, most people do not even reach it on their own. So this is a bit weird one, but okay, you can already see that for the increased population limit right there. This is Alfheim Ragnarok's, and it's already showing that it's having bad spawn, because all the way to the right there is a gold locked off beyond mountains, so not a good showcase. Frankly, not a good showcase at all. And it's also having insane amount of gold mines. I'm gonna be repeating myself, but since we are on live stream, I just want to be including you guys. We're having actually 12 gold mines, 6 per player, instead of the standard like 4 or 3. So some insane amount of resources, unless they are changing them from 6,000 to lower. That's something that we don't know yet. But yeah, it's kind of wild what we are so far seeing here on the map. So yeah, fun stuff. Okay, so let's go further, I guess.
Etc. So that really take your...
Okay, auto spawn here of the Sphinx, so that's gonna be kept. Automatic myth units, that's at least good.
The level of complexity down, so to actually make it, but you are still in control.
What was the village you doing there?
Complexity, etc. So that really take you, so you can concentrate on building units.
Oh, right,
to
that
go
was a
battle,
village right now,
etc.
actually,
So
just
that
gathering
really
from a
take
straggler.
your
Oh, wait, what?
concentrate wood, some
Yeah,
of them
that's
to
a
go
straggler,
gather
it's kinda
wood,
hard to
so
see.
and they will go do that for you. So
And
you
he's
can
gonna be
concentrate
wasting the
on
wood on
building
that
units to
villager.
go battle, etc. So that really take your the level of complexity down, so to actually make it. But you are still in control, because strategically you are still.
Okay, so upgrade into Cryosphinx, 150 wood and 5 favor. Another point we can have a look at. That is Cryosphinx. 150 and 5, that's the same actually. Interestingly enough. So that one is gonna be the same. Bust upgrades Sphinxes to Cryosphinxes with more hit points and attack. We don't entirely see the effect in there, of course. We're gonna be needing some kind of mod, of course. Again, like any Pert's tooltips. It seems like there is no autocue button here either, so it feels like there might not be autocue actually in the game, which in my opinion is not a good idea. There's all kinds of like ideas that it's wrong and whatnot, but at this point, if they want to be aiming for the casuals, even with, for example, to the top side, the economy differentiation being automatic, I just don't understand why you would be actually ever removing that. I just like don't. People are used to it as well. Even if people are gonna be grumbling, still, it's not anything really stopping people from playing Age of Mythology. That's just like fairy tale in my opinion. Nothing serious. But yeah, so far it seems like it's not present. Interesting. Oh wow, Temple is having actually right now pop space as well to hide villages in or people in. Well, that's a bit interesting. What is that infinite favor? What? Huh. Interesting. Okay, let me at this point right now bring up some further things on the temple. For the statistics, so 1200 hit points, that's the same. 3090, that's somewhat the same. We can see pierce resistance is being kind of like reduced, it seems like. 5 on the crash, that's the same, but like the pop space there is very interesting. You're gonna be therefore able to hide villages in temples, huh. Strange. No, and otherwise you don't see anything special here. As maybe some kind of interesting button here to the bottom that we don't entirely know what it's going to be about. Maybe it's gonna be ejecting relics, there's some kind of speculation about that. And what is Alt X? That's gonna be ejecting. That's eject units, the arrow out. Because again, for some reason there is a population limit that you can fit units inside, or villages maybe. Otherwise, classic Eclipse, Rain, so far we are not seeing how multi-god powers are gonna work.
Making the decisions on how you actually want those.
By the way, when there was that advance, did FPS drop on that?
So
because
they
that's
will go
sometimes
do
a
that
problem.
for you, so you can concentrate on building units to go battle, etc. So that really
Yeah, it took a bit of a dip, but
the level of
because that's a bit of a used to be a bit of a problem in Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. You could tell when players were advancing based on lag in the game. It actually really used to be a thing.
How you actually want those villagers to actually be applied to different resources, but you get to control it.
Yeah, how is actually clicking the units in? It looks like no autocue really.
The other, for example, similar thing is still what we call the site menu system. So you see wood, since we talk about like getting villagers to get the wood. So intuitively, why do you need to go through, pick a villager, and then build house and do those, like you say, it takes an hour to learn sometimes, right? What you can now do is you see
why you
wood,
play the
just
game, to
click
do
on
those
it,
things.
and then say
What
like,
kind
hey,
of
I want
argument is
someone
that?
here to
Why do you need to play the game to play the game? Like, excuse me. Maybe choose different game if you don't want to be doing that. That's a bit weird to me. But whatever. Okay, so next part, we have some kind of idols here. Pharaoh Priest. This is like 1 minute in. Okay, so you just probably starting before we have seen what is there. Okay, some circular hitbox around the gold. Okay, that's a bit interesting, the circular hitbox. Otherwise something special here. Gold mine is 3000 still. Why is it having that hit points? Why is the gold having hit points? And why is the gold mine having all kinds of extra icons here? What's that supposed to mean? And the villages on that and that? Excuse me? Not entirely certain what that is. No, there is no unit. Well, is there? I don't think so. The Pharaoh is not selected, in my opinion. This is only the gold mine. This is confusing to me. If it's supposed to be like calling villages to it, this is gonna be like pickaxe, and you're gonna be updating it on the gold instead of on the building. Now, this, in my opinion, is not selected because it will be showing here, in my opinion at least. Because you can say now this is what is being selected, but you might be right, who knows. I don't know, this is a bit strange, but 3000 starting gold, that's gonna be still standard at least. That's what we can get from here. Okay, 3 villages idle, that's 2 heroes, I guess, and 2 military units, which is kinda the same, I guess. Therefore, it's gonna be overlapping.
Collect this wood.
And by the way, on the scoreboard, you're gonna be able to tell the age, and you can also tell, of course, the gods. But it doesn't seem to be showing amount of TCs. Let's see if it's gonna be changing somewhere. Oh, no, I mean like the modding. I'm hoping there are gonna be plenty of mods, but I'm slightly worried because of their aggressive monetization they want to be apparently introducing. If that's not gonna be locking some things off. So far, we have no information on that, so... Map being too dark. No, well... That's because of the day and night cycle and the shades. I'm thinking that the shades are gonna be turned off for competitive play, or... I mean like, competitive players are gonna be turning them off, because it's only confusing you and just like making it harder to recognize what's going on the battlefield. So I'm thinking that might be automatically turned off practically by people. But we'll see. Otherwise, it doesn't look as bad. I mean, like, it's definitely better than on Extended Edition, right? Overall. Otherwise, I'm not entirely a fan of the textures on the ground, of like the grass. I'm not entirely liking that too much. Not like, of course, Age of Mythology original one is having some kind of superb quality or anything. But I don't know, it just kind of fits better for me. Well, that's a small thing, to be honest. I just kind of liked also the color of Alvine. Yeah, kind of removing it here, so I'm a bit unhappy about it. But that's a personal thing.
And then the villager will actually come, build a camp, and actually collect those. Just makes it way, way smoother and easier, especially to
Wait,
help a lot
what
of
did
new
he say?
people coming. And then the villager will actually... You need to go through, pick a villager, and then build a house and do those, like you say, it takes an hour to learn sometimes, right? What you can now do is you see wood, just click on it, and then say like, hey, I want someone here to collect this wood. And then the villager will actually come, build a camp,
Whoa.
and actually collect those. Just
Holy damn, you actually don't have to be going through villager to drop the mining camp. So that's what was actually there. You actually click the resource, then you have the mining camp next to it. You're gonna be having granary next to the animals. Then that's gonna be built, and that's gonna be automatically calling the closest villager. Whew. Well, that's the next level of automatization. Yeah, the map screw is very funny. We've already noticed that as well. Okay, so that's kind of interesting. So yeah, that's actually a legit mining camp. You just click resource. You can click mining camp from that. You don't have to be going through villager, click hotkey onto build, and then place it. And it's gonna be also automatically calling villager in. So the icon on the left side is gonna be calling villagers in as well automatically to gather that resource. Huh. No, I guess that's not gonna be pro experts, of course, but interesting. Not sure I have a kind of opinion on that. Probably not mattering, I guess, as much. We'll see. But it's interesting, really. 3 to 2, those are idle banners. Idle villagers, idle heroes, and idle military, in my opinion. Map not flat. I mean, like, even the original maps aren't... No, well... Yeah, well, mostly they are. You're kind of right that mostly there is not much elevation because they didn't have any kind of role. So I'm kind of interested if they're gonna be having hill advantage here, like more than there is in Age of Mythology. It's kind of curious. Don't have an opinion on that. Off the top of my head, it doesn't seem like it's gonna be having some kind of bad consequences for competitive play, because you're just always gonna be doing it better and you're gonna be selecting appropriate villages. So who cares, kind of, I guess.
Will actually come, build a camp, and actually collect those.
I can see the
Just
closest
makes
coming
it
in.
way smoother and easier, especially to help a lot of new people coming to enjoy LTS with us.
And it comes with some great presets as well. So if you
That's amazing.
And also allow
You know,
farm construction
Enjoy
there.
LTS with us.
and it comes with
Can
some
be
great presets as well. So if you
That's amazing.
Taking them out.
you know, your priorities are going to be different in the first age of the game as you're sort of
Right.
Skin of the Rhino. Can see right now on the left side is Edit Fora. He was apparently having that upgraded in the first part then. And nothing really else here. Now, to be honest, forests are exactly something I'm not entirely all that fan of from the trailer and whatnot. Feels to me that the ones in the original game are looking better. Maybe because exactly that it's all lower quality, that they look better. Here, well,
establishing your economy, and you can just be like, I want the age 1 preset. Go ahead, build my economy whilst
Oh
I go
my
and
god,
figure
that's
out.
so nice.
Yeah, and again, if you're a pro player and you don't need that, you don't have to use it. But
no, and yeah, on the elk, you can see right now there's the granary. You can build, okay, in the same fashion. 150 food, so that's gonna be the same. Nothing else, who cares about the statistics of animals?
the system is there to help you get started.
Yeah.
Oh, that is so handy because sometimes resource management takes so.
Wait. We see if we can be hand deleting still.
The system is there to help you get started.
Yeah.
It almost looked like he could be building over it as well, so probably hand delete is gonna be still, unfortunately, a thing, so...
Oh, that is so handy because sometimes
it's a bit-
resource management takes.
It's a bit complicated thing to actually manage though in the game, so it might have to be really just like a community rule, as it always has been. But the problem is that the new people coming in are gonna be just gonna claim it's part of the game. I'm just gonna be hand deleting you till the no tomorrow. Like for example, what happened with animation canceling in Age of Empires 4. So I'm really kind of worried about that you're simply gonna be having some supposedly quotation mark competitive players and it's just gonna be hand deleting you from the start with Norse. I just like not gonna be surprised by that kind of behavior at all. Because they just gonna be again claiming, but it's in the game, so I can do that.
So long to set up and
Shipseskare, Mr. Pharaoh, so what do you have with him? That's gonna be probably there for empowering on the left side, or what is it? Okay. Okay, empowerment is the second. First one, I have no idea what that is. Is that healing? It might be maybe healing. Last one, I have no idea. This one is Pick Relic. What's the last one? Jesus Christ. Otherwise, range attack 1.2, so they're gonna be sticking with absolutely no attack in the archaic. Okay. Let us find the Pharaoh here. And have his settings. So 100 HP into Hundo, speed is gonna be 4. We actually have a speed here. Yeah, there's a 4 as well. Attack 1.2. You can see right now that's 3 here currently in our game, so they're apparently gonna be even more useless. They have 2.5 times only 2.5 times multiplier against myth units. That looks like a multiplier against like a Minotaur picture in there. Huh. That's extremely, no, I mean like extremely low. Priest are having 8, Pharaoh is having 3, or how much? 400, actually 4 times. So that's quite a nerf. He better be having some huge attack in classical then. Otherwise 1530. Okay, pierce damage resistance has been increased to double, interestingly. I guess to make him a bit more bit more useful for scouting, but who the hell scouts with Pharaoh for Egyptians and with Egyptians? Especially with Ra, for example, but in general with Aegis, like no one. You are not supposed to do that too much. So that's a bit weird change. I guess they just gonna be maybe just increase like the prevalence of myth units, and therefore they want to be having a bit harder to snipe in the fights. I can imagine that maybe being a thing. And otherwise 3 range instead of 4, so you can see also lower range. Actually nerfed Pharaohs. Huh. Curious decision. No, yeah, well, they scout for the second TC and that's where it ends for them. So yes, but I mean, like, the point of pierce resistance is protection from TC fire. And that's obviously not relevant, right? Because you're never gonna be going that far. So at that point, yeah. But you are right that if they decide to scout, then that's gonna be a Pharaoh.
I don't know if it's just me, but I will sit there and sometimes watch. I'm like, did I do it right? Am I getting the right stuff? That's magic.
Yeah.
That is absolute magic.
And even as someone newer to strategy games, I do feel like one of the things that I noticed when you brought Age of Empires to console was this overwhelming, like, I don't want to say shock, but overwhelming, like, positivity around what the work that you all did to adapt it to a controller. So just kudos to the team on that one.
The
Once
Xbox
more, because that
versions
is
can't say anything about that, but they seem to be very well done.
I'm gonna be that guy.
Really, some of the best conversions that
That's awesome.
gaming has seen.
But
So
I hear you all brought some gameplay for us, which I'm excited to jump in. So you
at the same time, you're just gonna need to be careful about it because it's just like a short term. For example, in Age of Empires 2, when it launched, it was a major success. There were like dozens and dozens of streams on Twitch, but 2 weeks after, complete end. Like, absolutely disappeared, because that's the nature of console gaming. You're just gonna have fun with it for a few weeks, and then you're just gonna never launch it again. So if somebody thinks that Xbox is gonna be some kind of huge amount of extra players for multiplayer, no, absolutely not. That's not how it works. It's gonna be very good sales for them, but that's practically it.
can kind of explain to players and obviously fans of the series what we're experiencing here. So let's take a look at this and let's talk through it.
Yeah.
Atlantean and his
Okay, let's probably blur it and then we're gonna be analyzing it so that we are having something a bit more running.
To the series, what we're experiencing here. So let's take a look at this and let's talk through it.
Yeah.
Atlantean and his men have been taken to the prison. Your allies recommend a diversion so you can slip in and rescue him.
So yeah, this is a campaign mission. So I think this is an exclusive first look on an
Ooh.
actual mission from the
yeah.
campaign.
Exclusive.
So this is great.
So tell us what we're seeing here.
Yep, this is from the I Just Hear My Plea campaign and the mission. And this is in this particular one, you played as the Egyptian heroine, and you go around the level and try to go to different temples and collect new additional mythological units for your army. Just continue to build it up and then like to play for the level. It is one of my favorite levels ever. It is super fun. You really get to showcase all the different mythological units. As you can see, there are
See Amun-Ra.
like
The
Amara
stutters are
there,
real
and then
though.
which is the hero that you
When he
are
met-
playing
when he
as.
scrolls the
and
map.
then there are one of my favorite units in the game is called Petuchos. I can't say that word Petuchos. I can't say that word properly. So internally, we have been like joking around and just like call it the laser crop.
Laser crop.
And they
I'm
get the
sorry.
power of the sun.
Yeah,
and then
it's a
get to use
bejeweled
it.
crocodile
Yes.
with a lens mounted on its back that will focus the rays into
The
basically
crocs are
creates
so
a laser
fast.
beam.
Right.
So like I was
Seems
really
faster.
excited about this game already, and I was already gonna
And then you
wishlist and all
heard-
that, and then I heard Laser Croc,
Yeah.
and then I'm in. Sign me up, doing it.
This game is just like crazy amazing. Just imagine like how many games are there
Unkept
that you
favor.
get to
Can see
use
400
all
to the
these
top.
different like Greek gods versus Egyptians, like different mythological units. Like here on screen we have the scarabs,
Yeah.
and they are very very good. Like they are giant scarabs. These are like they are kaiju scarabs.
Terrifying.
Very good at attacking buildings. They are really good, and that's the lasers right
There you
there.
go.
So this is an
from
army
the-
of Laser Crocs. Oh, they're so
And
cool.
scarabs.
And scarabs.
Giant
Yeah.
scarabs.
And they're just wrecking.
Yes, because the
There
way
is
that
so
the game
many
is
of them
played,
though.
so since
In
we
current
are
pop limit,
also
you
doing
just
laser
wouldn't be able to
robotics
get such an army at all.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
very often the
They're gonna be having way different pop
mythological units are
limit.
very good against human units. But then you have the hero units. The hero units are especially good against the mythological units. So there's like a triangle going on. That's super fun and really makes you, as the player, pick different strategic decisions as you play through the levels. It's really cool. Just you can actually
Yeah,
keep on
definitely pill needles,
playing.
but
It's
that's
got
what
a
it is. This is for,
Just like
again,
the,
this is
I
for
love that.
casuals,
Yeah.
not for
I want to
competitive
give
players.
props to
This
all
is
our
like some kind of
programmers
buzzword
team
they
as
like to
well.
say
So
because
as
it
you
sounds
see,
cool.
the game looks
But
way
it
better.
never was the
We
case
now
for
support
any of the
ray
remasters.
tracing. We have Sharp's Shadows that
EOE4
we are now supporting
either.
now, which is fantastic. We have new particle system. That's how you like get a lot of the new effects in the game. So they did an amazing job. So
Yeah, and Jen was saying it's beautiful. It is beautiful, and like you can see the distinct architecture for each pantheon and each culture, different biome.
Okay, so let's go back and let's analyze it therefore piece by piece, because there is a lot of unpacking to do there based on what we have seen. So, campaign mission, you can see right now classic ancestors are gonna be coming up. That's also, of course, the question of the graphics as far as the dead bodies. For example, skeletons were removed from 2DE. So I wonder how ancestors are gonna be looking, because in China, skeletons depiction is a big no-no. And they are, of course, trying to milk China as much as possible. So I'm very curious if you're gonna be having kind of like the classic minions, or if they're gonna be all covered or whatnot. So yeah. That is gonna be a bit of an interesting thing. Otherwise, well, what I have definitely noticed is the insanely fast increase of favor, but he's also having decent amount of monuments, I guess, available to him. At the same time, uncapped favor is clear, so I guess maybe that's gonna be there for tides through God power somehow, I don't know. And we have also seen some absolute insane pop limit of units, because in like the current pops that we have in AoM, I mean, like currently he's having what, 50 pop limit? And he's having this, right? That's like absolutely not realistic in today's numbers. So what do we have actually? 2, 5, 8, and 5. So about like 13. 13, if there would be like 3 pop, that's 39. Then you'd have a few other things maybe. No, yeah, I'm thinking that the pop is gonna be a bit decreased. And the point is that, sure, you can still play it competitively. The point is that the main focus is casual player base, not competitive esports players. They're just kind of something they like to say, but that's because it's good marketing for them. But in reality, it's absolutely not the case. And that it can be still played competitively. It's just like a normal side effect, right? I mean, like, nobody was thinking that Age of Empires or Age of Mythology in 20 years ago, it's gonna be a competitive gameplay, somehow like serious hardcore, right? They weren't designing it for that. So that's kind of like nothing too surprising, to be honest. Okay, so of course Isis, these are gonna be already Hearable Sphinxes. We have already seen that on that trailer, that you're gonna be having signified upgrades by different graphics. So the mod that I'm using on stream, then that's gonna be practically in the game, which is just as expected, to be honest, if they are doing graphic overhaul. So this is already Hearable Sphinx. And, well, nothing else to be seen here really yet.
Have been taken to the prison. Your allies recommend a diversion, so you can slip in and rescue him.
So yeah, this is a campaign mission, so I think...
I mean, like, there's some serious FPS problems, to be honest. If you look at that, it's quite a bit choppy, by the way. And even when he was moving the camera around, it wasn't entirely smooth. And this is not my stream. I mean, like, you're probably not gonna be seeing it because I'm on 30 FPS as the stream. But again, recommend watching it yourselves. But yeah, there's certainly some performance, maybe not entirely ideal. And this does not seem some kind of extreme resolution. Otherwise, though, the graphics look alright, in my opinion. As far as the, like, the ground, the cobbled street, and whatever.
This is an exclusive first look on an
Ooh.
actual mission from the
Yeah.
campaign.
Exclusive.
So this is great.
So tell us what we're seeing.
Okay, plenty of Petsuchi that are actually renamed into Petsobek, which, if I'm not mistaken, that was already mentioned somewhere, that it should be more like correct name. He's actually going for Levy. Holy damn, he's upgrading Levy. Oh wow. Actually, he's ahead of the competitive players. Congratulations. You're gonna be getting plus points from me for that.
In here.
Yep, this is from the Isis here, my fleet.
Okay, finally we've seen some kind of special attacks. because that was something we didn't see in the trailer and before practically all, not at all. Which kind of leads me to believe that maybe they cannot script them, since they are on demand now or whatnot.
Pain and the mission, and this is in this particular one you played as the Egyptian heroine, and you go around the
Did
level.
he actually
In this
activate
particular-
that or not?
Isis here. Oh, this is great.
So tell us what we're seeing here.
Yep, this is from the Isis Here My Plea
No,
campaign.
they seem to be
the
activated
mission,
on
and
their
this is
own.
in this particular one you played as
So you
the
probably
Egyptian
will be having like an automatic version of that. Which was of course asked as soon as it was announced that there are gonna be on-demand special abilities for the myth units, then already people started asking, do you have a variant where it can be cast automatically? So again, question, who the hell are they actually making the game for? You don't see auto production? No, yeah, well, it seems like auto queue is actually maybe not in. Based on how they're also clicking in the units, right? One by one. It looks like that actually auto queue is off. In my opinion, that's a major mistake. It's gonna be making plenty of people very unhappy. And I think in very small majority happy by this time, but yeah, well, seems like they have taken that. No, nonetheless, statistics right about now for the Sphinx. That's of course the Heracles as you mentioned. A bit disappointing that she's actually having still a picture of standard Sphinx instead of the Heracles one with the head of a falcon. That's, yeah, something that maybe could be fixed. Otherwise, statistics for Heracles Sphinx. Oh, well, that's something I'm probably not gonna be able to do together too much. Because you're gonna be having just the basic version and the upgrades. Yeah, I'm not gonna be doing the math for that, frankly. So maybe that comparison is not gonna be entirely too relevant, unfortunately. One range. Yeah, that's also interesting that we're gonna be having melee units with range. Probably not gonna be having that much of a real effect. It's gonna be having more of an effect on pathfinding and target finding than anything else. Otherwise, it's probably not gonna be too like legit and important against the 3 times bonus against myth units. That's a bit interesting, maybe. We are having 200% plus. No, that's probably gonna be the same. Therefore, half versus heroes. That's the same as well. Therefore, 1.3. What's that? I'm not entirely certain what actually those arrows are so far. 24 attack. No, well, currently we are having hack damage. What? 11. And there's also crash damage at 15. Okay, what are the upgrades? Sorry for the switching over. So if you're gonna be having 11 there, then cryo is going to be having plus 20%, so about like 13.5 probably. 13.5 and about like 15. With all the upgrades, you're gonna be having like 15 damage, right? So that seems like the myth unit is gonna be a lot stronger here. 24 damage. If I'm counting it right, that should be higher. Unless I'm not entirely looking at it right, which could be. So that seems higher. 15 on the crash. We're gonna be having 50. And I can say it about now 50. So practically 100% extra damage on crash. So it's gonna be like 10 crash damage. And here we should be therefore having 15. Okay. It seems like the myth unit is stronger therefore. And for the resistance is 45-60. That's the same, some kind of small little percentage difference. Yeah, that's the same, 6.4 speed. Because you can see 5.3 and there is upgrade bonus on that. Can say it now, nothing there, but rather here you're gonna be having 20%. 20% to 5, so it's gonna be like 6.3, more than 6.3. So that's practically the same therefore, and 420 hit points. We are therefore having 300, and there is increase with the upgrades. 300, that's gonna be 50, so 350. 350 therefore. So we're having 350 hit points on the base Sphinx, so this is also going to be therefore higher. By about 70 hit points, okay. So that's an interesting change. Myth units are gonna be therefore stronger, it looks like. And all the way on the left side, there is kind of like the cycle in there, almost like an auto queue. So I'm not entirely certain if it's supposed to be meaning that it's gonna be recycling and therefore like recharging, or if it's supposed to be the automatic casting somehow. But I'll be almost expecting that to be a different hotkey, or I don't know. Because I mean, like, I was thinking about it, how it's gonna be even working, because some of the powers are kind of like hard to control through kind of like some kind of normal means. That it's gonna be very complicated to use it properly. Because currently, if you, for example, have centaurs, you can just kind of target them with right-click onto a villager, and if you have it charged, you're gonna be automatically attacking. Now you're gonna be having to hit another hotkey. By the way, interesting is you don't have a hotkey in there with that. Yeah, there's actually no hotkey tied to it. Is that gonna be meaning... Is that gonna be meaning that you have to be clicking it by mouse? That would be pretty stupid. Hopefully not. But yeah, bit kind of interested how it's gonna be actually control-wise.
Heroine, and you go around the level and try to go to different temples.
Amanda, I have no idea about her. What kind of statistics she has. You can see some kind of healing and... Not sure what the last one is, some kind of defense against whatever.
And collect new additional mythology.
Okay, so you're gonna be getting animals. Even though it's Isis, apparently she's gonna be getting some... Oh, it's a campaign, so of course it's not gonna be entirely true, probably. Well, or is it? Are you gonna be getting maybe right now animals with all the gods? Because in the trailer I have seen one animal... Only one animal very well hidden with Set. So I was almost contemplating if Set is not gonna be losing the animals. But there was like one something. Looked like a seal almost, but that doesn't make sense. So that was some kind of animal, I saw it. This is a bit interesting. Chef, this is... I'm not sure if it has been posted anywhere on Age of Empires yet, but it is on the Xbox YouTube. I'm just gonna be giving you the link then as well, so that you can watch with me if you wish.
Units for your army, just continue to like build it up. And
okay, full selection. So what do we see here? Distributed basically bit by bit, kind of like in an Age of Mythology. It just seems to be a bit structured, therefore. I kind of wonder what kind of logic is used though. If it's like top to bottom and then the second column, probably, because otherwise it makes little sense. But that's just like nothing too important really. Though there has to be some kind of consistency. Interesting part is the left side. Then when you're gonna be having selected all the myth units, you have Scorpionmen, Scarabs, Petsuchi, or Petsobeks currently they're gonna be called, and Sphinxes. And on the left side you're gonna be seeing all their power abilities, right? Because there's the Sting from the Scorpion. Then you do have the Whirlwind or Dust Devil from the Sphinx, and the first one... I don't know what that is. That's Amon-Ra Charge, right? Probably. Which is going to be meaning that Petsuchos doesn't have a special attack and Scarab either. Which is what is also in the current game, because Scarab explodes on death and Petsuchos doesn't have anything. Right? I think he doesn't have anything.
And like to play for the level. It is one of my favorite levels ever. It is super fun. You really
like
get
a bit
to
of a lag here
showcase
on the movement around here of the map. That's a bit worrisome, maybe.
The different mythological units, as you can see, there are Amon-Ra there, and then which is the hero that you are playing as, and then there are one of my favorite units in the game is called Petuchos. I can't say that word.
That is so weird, because at this point you can see the units, they are just basically going through each other and they are molding into like one, but at the same time we have seen plenty of occasions where they basically like push each other away. So have they like gone away with that? We'll see if it's gonna be later in here as well, if it was only somewhere specifically for like in the league, for example. Not sure.
Petuchos, I can say the words properly. So internally, we have been like joking around and just like call it the laser crop.
Laser crop.
And they get their
Oh, by the way, these are not... Yeah, I was gonna see it wrong. These are not set animals, or like the crocodiles. These are actually Petsuchi. So sorry for confusing that earlier. So, yeah. No problem there. That was my mistake.
Power of the sun.
Yeah,
and then
it's a
get to use
bejeweled
it.
crocodile
Yes.
with a lens.
Okay, something specific here. Otherwise, I'm kind of at least liking that the buildings are remaining quite a bit recognizable. That you are not gonna be lost necessarily here if you're gonna be playing it.
Mounted on its back that will focus.
No, and Petsobek. So, no Petsuchos, but rather Petsobek is actually gonna be here as the name. Tough to say if it's an upgraded one or not. But I'm thinking it might be still the same one, probably. This is supposed to be... I've already seen some discussions before that Petsuchos is not entirely, like, correct mythologically. So this is probably going to be alright. Don't have that much of a problem with it. Okay, so let's see Petsuchos. To compare some statistics, so 480 HP, that's the same actually. Speed 3.6, that's the same. 40-45, that's also the same. And damage 8, oh wow. Okay, so of course, that's something that's gonna be needing some explanation, considering PS damage is 55, of course, for the normal Petsuchos here we have an 8. But considering they were actually kind of quite a bit killing, there has to be some kind of specialty, I guess. And what is 1. They actually have in 1.6 crash. We also do have that here at 12. That's like... There has to be some kind of explanation for that, I guess. 26 on the range. That is going to be way higher. Normal range is actually 20 with Petsuchos here. Unless it's going... I mean, like, Petsuchos Ra is actually going to be having improvement into range, right? It's only... Yeah, it's range and loss. 26. So it might be actually upgraded Petsuchos Ra. It maybe basic is gonna be Petsuchos, and then you do have, therefore, Petsobek. Maybe it's just the upgrade. Could be. But nonetheless, the statistics are very different on the attack. Interesting. And I'm still confused what the hell is... like the arrows, and next to it 1. What is that? I'm gonna be trying to put it on some kind of higher quality, even though I'm gonna have to maybe take it back. Oh, that's gonna be like 1 projectile. Ah, yeah, that's number of projectiles, okay. Like on the TC there were 2. Yes, that makes sense, actually. You can see right now, Bowsaw on the left side, then Levy upgrade into Migdol units, apparently, coming up. 400 favor already, so as you can see, really unkept favor. And that's probably gonna be therefore tie into buying of the god powers, therefore, as has been already mentioned. Oh, that's attack speed. Ah, yeah, that's actually a good point. Okay. So that's gonna be probably therefore 1 attack per 2 seconds. Thank you for that point, Nime. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's making very good sense, especially since it's next to the number of attacks practically. So thank you. Okay, let's see if maybe my computer is gonna be able to handle the better resolution, even though I'm kind of doubtful.
The rays into basically creating a laser beam.
Right.
So, like, I was really excited about this game already.
There are the set animals here to the bottom. Yes. Just confirmation, I saw it right on the screenshot. So set animals are still a thing. You can see I'm gonna be having some weird effect around them. Kind of similar to how it is on Extended Edition, but just a bit more. Elephantinos. Are they having riders? At this point I'm thinking they're having riders already somehow. Because before they didn't. If I'm not mistaken, in the trailer they were riderless, actually.
And I was already gonna,
And then you
wishlist and all
heard-
that. And then I heard laser croc.
Yeah.
And then
What? What's that? Oh, is that supposed to be like a monument build up? No, it's a kind of like birds in the behind or in the background. So I'm not entirely certain what that is actually supposed to be meaning. But I guess they have to be building monuments somehow, so maybe that's gonna be it. Or obelisks, sorry, not monuments. Obelisks, possibly. Yeah, that's not gonna be favor limit because you are gonna be buying god powers with that. which frankly is gonna be definitely requiring a lot of balancing, and I just gonna imagine what's gonna happen with Norse Ragnarok, for example. That's gonna be truly the end of the world if it's not properly nerfed. And even with flamey weapons, Jesus Christ. That's gonna be much more powerful than spending it on piggies with Loki. You're just gonna be getting... Imagine kind of like the cycle, right? You're gonna be getting flamey weapons, from that you get favor, and from that you get another flamey weapons, and so you go on until the opponent is completely destroyed. Okay, I already don't want to be thinking about implications of that kind of idea. You're just gonna be having infinite flaming weapons, practically. Oh, we'll see how it's gonna be implemented. Yeah, you're not gonna be second Ragnarok, but you're gonna be getting the extra god powers for that. Just like, again, you're gonna be getting infinite, basically like frosts, for example. Or you're gonna be getting, I don't know, infinite, no, forest fires, that's not entirely too useful. Flaming weapons from that, for example, if you went for it. So, I don't know. But the biggest bonus for Ragnarok is going to be in the fact that you're usually gonna be kept on favor, and you're gonna be wasting like hundreds of favor during Ragnarok, because you are not gonna be able to get enough spent in time. And right now you're just gonna be, in current situation, if you do Ragnarok, you are gonna be shooting towards 1000 in favor. Like, you're gonna be 500 plus easy in like a minute or two. So that's gonna be a huge problem. That's why I'm always saying that people should be kind of like using Temple as a battery for the favor and clicking units manually instead of having the auto queue to kind of like safeguard the favor from that Ragnarok. And now you don't have to be even worried about that, probably. So yeah, that is definitely something to balance. Let's put it that way. That's for sure. Okay, so Priest, 112 hit points for an Isis. What kind of bonus she has specifically? Build rate, and nothing entirely too specific on the Priest then. So 100 or the 90 hit points in here. I mean, like, it's a question how many upgrades we have here. We don't entirely see that, unfortunately. So we're just gonna have to guess what's up, because you don't have them listed anywhere, the upgrades here. Ranged attack 4.8. Yeah, I'm kind of having a feeling this is gonna be already well upgraded Priest. So this comparison is not gonna be too relevant, unfortunately. It's gonna be having the Nephthys upgrades and stuff. I'm not gonna be doing that math, sorry. 14 range, but it's kind of like the basic idea of the upgrades here from Nephthys. Better damage versus Smith units, then you're gonna be having City of the Dead, that's only Pharaoh, and Spirit of Maat, better healing rate and cheaper cost. Oh, maybe it's not gonna be entirely that hot then. And therefore that's gonna be a solid nerf already. Because otherwise you're just not having anything too much. I don't think that the other gods are really helping in any kind of manner. So yeah, that's maybe not gonna be there for influencing those things that I thought that it could be. Because legit, I just don't remember all the little details. It's not entirely relevant in casting too much. So therefore, higher hit points it looks like. No, that's a good point as well, Ragnar. So you're gonna be having infinite gold mines, for example. And yeah, who cares about rain late game, unless you're gonna be wanting to block god powers. Maybe that's gonna be helpful, if it's gonna be still doing that. Increased damage, but usually you're gonna be having some decent damage with, also depends how many upgrades you have from the armory here. Usually you have like a 3 damage priest in the late game, so this seems to be increased, but only 3 times against myth units. Only 3 times bonus against myth units, where you have basic of 800% plus in the game. It seems like they have definitely increased power of myths, besides the Petsobek so far, which is a bit confusing on the damage. But I'm thinking that's gonna be a caveat there. I'm not entirely against that. That's something I'm complaining about long term, that the myth units are like not much of a part of Age of Mythology when you think about it, besides Norse practically. 0.8, fast attack speed, 1 projectile. No, but 3 times against myths. Huh. Oh, good luck with that then. You're gonna have to be using your myth units to deal with enemy ones. Yeah, the fancy lighting is definitely something that I'm seeing. It's gonna be turned off for competitive players very soon.
I'm in. Sign me up. Doing it.
This game is just like crazy amazing. Just imagine like how many games are.
Doing it.
This game is just like crazy amazing.
Wow,
Just
look at actually the wall on the right side just kind of
sign me up.
disappearing.
Doing it.
This game is just like
Instead of just getting
crazy
crushed
amazing.
into
Just imagine like
pieces.
how many games are there that you get to use all this different like Greek gods versus Egyptians, like musicians like different mythological
Okay,
units
that
like
was cut up.
versus Egyptians, like musicians.
So Scarab is gonna be at this point. Well, that's a bit easier one. Need to be of course switch into different god here. Scarab doesn't have any kind of upgrade, so it's simple 900. Yeah, wow, that's a lot more. 670 hit points currently for the Scarab. So that's a huge increase. 575 on... Wait, what? 5% melee resistance for him? What the hell? That's a decrease. Pierce resistance is the same. Crash is gonna be the same, of course. And then we do have therefore 3.2 speed, which is gonna be the same. 1 range, okay, 1.5 attack speed, so it's gonna slow 2 times against myth units, which is normal. Half against heroes, 8 damage. Hack damage is gonna be slightly increased, and 12. The crash damage is... Wow, crash damage is massively increased though. But that's because we are having... No, we are having inherent bonus against buildings. But this is actually very important because this is only against buildings. But if you're gonna be increasing the crash damage straight, you're making them a lot better against other myth units. Because myth units are having lower crash damage than other units, because other units are having 99%. So that is... No. That is interesting redesign. So Scarabs are gonna be decent against myths with that. Because otherwise... The bonus is therefore 4 plus 4, so 5 times 60. So it's basically normal damage against buildings, but it's gonna be better against myths. That's kind of like the story here. Because I mean, like, imagine that you are having also the 2 times bonus. So therefore you are doing 120 crash damage, and you are doing a fifth of that. 120, so that's 24 damage you're gonna be doing into a myth unit. That's not too bad on the crash. Plus, of course, the melee on top of it. So that's on the level of almost a hero. It's not too terrible. Interesting. Those are Kopesh, you thinking? Where do you see them?
All this different, like Greek gods versus Egyptians. Like
These almost gonna seems like some random villages rather than Kopesh. And to be honest, when Nidhogg appears, I'm thinking those were slingers, not Kopesh. Or if you mean the trailer. But I'm not 100% certain, it's kinda like hard to tell.
musicians like different mythological units, like here on screen.
I wouldn't be saying those are Kopesh, I don't think so. Might be just
We
like
have
some
the
kind of
scarabs.
whatever.
Yeah.
And they are very, very good. Like they are.
Okay, that might be just the
giant
spearmen
scarabs.
here
These
from right.
are
These
like
are
they
spearmen.
kaiju scarabs.
Terrifying.
Very good. Very
Right click to oh wow. Are you actually gonna be having automatically attack move? Now considering that it's one word, it looks like that right click is gonna be automatically attack move instead of just like a target move. Huh, okay, so automatic attack move, interesting. That's something that doesn't work properly in original Age of Mythology, so that might be making the battles feel a lot different. Huh.
good at attacking buildings. They are really good, and that's the lasers right
There you
there.
go.
So this is
Wait, what?
Really good at attacking buildings.
What
They
was
are
on the
really
Scarab
good.
there? Okay, he's having that, but apparently it's not usable. Okay, that's a bit interesting. That's right now on the Scarab, and he does have the explosion at the end, so that seems to be that, but therefore it's probably not activatable. And the circle, or kind of like the auto cue on that, almost like a picture in the other in the special abilities of the other myth units, looks like it's gonna be simply that it's rechargeable.
And there's the lasers right there.
So this is an
From
army
you.
of laser crocs. Oh, they're so
And
cool.
scarabs.
And scarabs.
Giant
Yeah.
scarabs.
And they're just wrecking.
What's
Yes,
that? What's the
because-
green
Oh, they're
kind of
so-
smoke or
They are
whatnot?
really good. And there's the lasers right
There you
there.
go.
So-
Pretty good
Oh,
at
that is
attacking,
actually that it's poisoned by
buildings.
the
They are really
scorpion
good.
man.
And there's the
Uh-huh.
lasers right
There you
there.
go.
So this is an
From
army of
you.
laser crocs. Oh, they're so
And
cool.
scarabs.
And scarabs.
Giant
Yeah.
scarabs.
And they're just wrecking.
Yes,
That's a bit
because
weird that it stays on the
way
ground,
that
but-
the game is played. So since we talk about strategy games, it's a rock paper scissors system.
Yeah,
So
okay.
very often,
Okay, Vajets. Vajets actually look kinda nice.
Units are very good against human units. But then you have the hero units. The hero units are especially good
Catapult
against the mythological
stoppers.
units. So there's like a triangle going on. There's
Okay, let me
super
kind of
fun
have a
and
look at it
really
again regarding pathfinding of the
very good against
units.
human units. But then you have the hero units. The hero units are especially good against the mythological units. So there's like a triangle going on. That's super fun and really makes you, as the player, pick different strategic decisions as you play through the levels. It's really, really cool because you can actually keep on playing as you play through the levels. It's really, really cool because you can actually
And like bit
keep on
delayed animation on that
playing.
slinger
It's kinda
moving
like
forward, but
It's like 3D chess. I love that.
small
Yeah.
thing I
I want to
guess.
give props to all our programmers team as well. So as you see,
Seems like the
game
Scarabs
is
are
way
looking for quite a bit of an
better. We
extreme
now
way
support
around,
ray tracing.
considering that
We
it's
have
not
sharp
even there.
shadows that we are now
But
supporting now, which
they
is
just kinda couldn't get through
fantastic.
anyway, so
we have new particle system. That's how you
Yes.
like get a
In
lot
general,
of
it doesn't seem like
effects
there's
in the game,
anything
so they did an
extremely
amazing job.
egregious so far, as
And
far as maybe some
Gemma said it's
pathfinding.
beautiful. It is beautiful, and like you can see the distinct
Bit strange graphics on the stones because they seem to be clipping beyond the graphic of the catapult instead of being in front of them.
architecture for each pantheon and each culture of different biomes. If you've seen any of the screenshots
No,
we've put out
just
so
in
far, you know, you've got
bits of info.
snow and you play as the Norse, and it just looks so good. And then, as I said, it's a little disappointing then when you destroy it, but you know, there's some beauty in that. But it's also fun.
Okay, there is rain going on by red player, but we just don't see any kind of god powers being used here at all, unfortunately.
It
it
just
was
means
great.
it just means you have to go back and do it again.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh,
Twist my arms
Oh,
more.
For someone like me, and I asked this to the Aura team, like, what would you consider winning as someone who's jumping into this game and is like, all right, what's my objective? Like, how do you all view winning in this game?
So there are definitely many different ways you can play the game.
Objective, like, how do you go?
Okay, so for Elephant here, can be also looking at that. What kind of changes are we gonna be expecting from him? This is therefore still Isis, right? So let me have a look at some War Elephant statistics here. So 530. It's still War Elephant, so I guess the basic one I'm gonna be assuming. So 450, 530. That's a bit of a difference. 33, 46. It's kind of tough to say if we don't have some further upgrades here. So it's just like in general, speed is the same. Then attack speed kind of slow. 3 times. That looks like that will be pop limit. Okay, so they're gonna be taking 3 pop instead of 5. That's so confusing why the myth units do not have that. Is that meaning that all the myth units are gonna be having the same pop limit cost, and therefore that's why they don't bother with that on the UI? But usually Age of Empires 3 UI basically shows absolutely everything if it can. So that's a bit strange. Or is it 3 times versus buildings? Yeah, could be. That's making more sense in here. That's gonna be a good point, Nime. Yeah, that's gonna be bonus versus buildings times 3. Yes. Okay, so this is gonna be... That basically meant that the Scarabs do not have the bonus against buildings anymore because it's added into their crush. Okay, so yep. Thank you very much for that little nudge. And 24 on the attack. You can see we're having only 14 attack normally. 24 seems to be kind of high here. Huh. Well, they have definitely quite a bit rebalanced practically the whole game, it looks like. So, good chances. There's gonna be a lot of busty things. Yeah, considering 24 attack and 3 times against buildings, it's still melee, it's not crush. So, of course, buildings are having high melee resistance, so it's not gonna be completely extreme. But, yeah, the numbers are kind of fun. What is the bonus for Elephant against buildings? 200, so times 3, so that's the same. No, so probably stronger Elise, apparently.
Yeah, how do you all view winning in this game?
So there are definitely many different ways you can play the game.
Yeah.
So for example, we have a campaign. We have multiple campaigns.
Okay, what was the relic? Can you give me the tooltip? Okay, new relic. Nephthys headdress. Myth units cost less favor. Myth units favor cost... Why do you duplicate that? But whatever. But myth units cost 20% less favor. Okay, so they're gonna be new relics. But frankly, who wasn't expecting that? That was a given, of course. That's the absolutely easiest thing to do here in the game. I'm expecting new pharaoh names as well, and of course Hersil names and whatever. Yeah, that one is gonna be useful. You do have relic in the game. There is decrease in the cost of myth units. That's the budget's eye, right? I think it's the budget's eye, and that's like what, 10% decrease cost? 10 or 15, I think it is.
Multiple campaigns get together. I believe there are like 15 missions.
50 missions.
They are
So
on
that'll
the
keep
in the game.
501.
They really keep
501.
you busy.
Wow.
But most people, like once you start playing, what they really enjoy is what we call the skirmish mode.
Versus
So you
AI.
start versus AI or co-op with
Okay, the terrain is damn ugly. Look at around right now the TC and that, Jesus Christ, the god powers really are very underwhelming for me so far graphically. I'm thinking that the original ones are much better looking. Look at what's going on there.
with your friends against AI, which is super popular. Like 2v2 is very, very popular way to play the game. So what you do is like you take a few villagers.
And not, oh wow, only around TCs, not around granaries here to the top side. So that's vanilla, practically. It looks like, even though that one is kind of far away from the town center here, top side. Just like confirmation with players here, because I'm living in the world where in vanilla you have rain only around TCs, whereas in Titans you are having them also, the effect is also around granaries. So pulse, somebody confirm or disconfirm, so that we are gonna be having the correct information here. But evidently in Retold you are having only the effect. It's at least kind of nice to be seen which kind of farms are affected, so you don't have to be guessing. That's a good idea. And you therefore know how far away you can be for it to be taken effect. But that effect next to that Migdol was, no, Migdol, Citadel was not nice. Classic shooting through the walls, of course, but yeah, that's kind of how it works.
You go through the different ages, you upgrade. Each time you upgrade different ages, you get to...
Those are snakes, right? That's gonna be... The Anubis got power. Yep, that's it. Can say it now here. No, that's a good point. That's a good point that might be actually Fog of War. That's a decent point. Okay, so let's not gonna maybe make the full actual opinion on that. That could be.
Go through the different ages, you
And that's maybe why that one here on the corner is actually still activated. Even though it's kind of far away from the TC, which kind of seemed a bit weird to me. Because the distance is about farm and a half, where it should be working on the farms. So that might be, yeah, that might be it actually. No, autocue seems to be gone, frankly.
upgrade. Each time you upgrade different ages, you just...
Also, by the way, lasting and length of the rain is 60 seconds.
So you
Okay.
stuff, versus AI or co-op with your friends against AI, which is super popular. Like 2v2 is very, very popular way to play the game. So what you do is like you take a few villagers, you start with a town center, and you just build. You go through the different ages, you upgrade. Each time you upgrade different ages, you get to pick different new power that you can actually have. And then continue to build your army, and hopefully at the end, when you battle, you come out on top. If not, then you still have a good time. So
Hey,
Kind
there
of
you go.
upgrades on the
You
left.
can try again,
Yeah.
and if
Yeah.
you want to play with players around the world, go for multiplayer. You know, there's just,
or you can play against the computer locally.
yeah. So
Okay.
lots of
of
different
choice.
things.
That's awesome. To build off that question, why is now the best time to jump into the game for fans?
we know that real-time strategy as a genre has quite a steep learning curve, so we've really designed this to be the most accessible game that we've done so far in terms of welcoming people in, showing them the ropes, helping them build up their skills, making them feel comfortable. So over the last few years, we've released our original Age of Empires titles in definitive editions, Age of Empires 4, and we've learned along the way what helps players with those, learn those skills and refine those. And so we've brought systems and features from those other games and
removing auto-queue is not entirely making the game accessible.
So that new
but the
players
other
can enjoy
things,
this as well
evidently,
as
yeah,
those
they
who played it
seem to be
already.
having that kind of
Focus
idea
on
there.
approachability is so important, because you're right. You know,
What did she say?
sometimes when you start a new
bringing it together so that new players can enjoy this as well as folks who've played it already.
that focus on approachability is so important, because you're right. You know, sometimes when you start a new strategy game, it can take you 30 minutes to even look at all the different units.
That's
that
the
you can
whole
create. I mean,
point.
if you've got,
Jesus
you know,
Christ, that's the whole
gods and
point of playing
pantheons,
a
you have to learn and figure
complicated
out what are the
strategy game.
advantages,
Go
and each
play
one's unique,
Clash of
each one's
Titans
different.
or Clash of
So I
Clans
love
or
that you've taken
I don't know,
all of the
Sims.
learnings,
If you want easy
over the
game,
last, you know,
come
all
on.
the games that you've made and put them in.
What the hell is that?
Exciting.
We've been building up our audience. I mean, Age of Empires has been a franchise more than 25 years. We've got 50 million players
That's like
all over the world.
that's like telling your
some
kid
who've
that's
been with
coming
us since the
home
beginning and some who
with
are
like I don't
relatively
know
new, and we've been learning
insufficient
along the way.
rating for
And
whatever
those
kind of work they
definitive
done,
editions, Age of Empires
and you're
4
gonna be
really
as a
helped
parent
us
telling
learn
them,
what does and
no, they're
doesn't work,
stupid, you did
and
absolutely
bring
superb,
all
it's
that good
all
learning
great,
into Age
you
of
can do
Mythology
whatever you want
Retold.
in
And
your
we
life.
think that the theme
No,
is
well,
really
you're just gonna lie
encouraging
into
as
the
well.
kid
Like,
and
who
making
didn't
it
have
disappointed
a
for the
geeky
whole life
mythology
because it's
phase
gonna
when
be
they were
expecting
growing up? Is
something
that
else.
just me?
No,
Were you really
it's
into
like
the Greek
what the
gods?
hell?
Is that just me?
I'm sure it's not
Strategies
just
are
you.
supposed to be
Okay.
hard
Wait,
games. They are.
Yeah.
That's their whole purpose.
So we've the original game actually. So Age of Mythology, the original was launched in 2002, and you know where.
Lol. They're actually taking something from whoa, from a random YouTuber instead of actually doing their own. Are they not having access? This is alpha, right? Looking at the banners on the boats, or is it? Or is it campaign? At this point, I have played the campaigns really just 20 years ago only. But nonetheless, it's immensely funny to me that they don't have their own footage of the game. Come on.
I mean, think back to where you were in 2002 and the machines you were playing on.
Wow.
Yep.
Picture those CRT monitors, you know, at the internet cafe or in your sort of teenage bedroom. And so, you
Yeah,
know,
that's
we've
the
got
first
those
campaign.
fans
Okay,
of
so
the
it's normal
original,
game.
and
Good.
people are hungry for it, and we're excited to finally be on the road to them getting to play.
I will say your fan base is so passionate.
Oh,
because
gosh, yeah.
I wanted to do a bunch of research before this weekend.
Yeah.
And so there was, I think, like an hour-long or 45-minute video of someone analyzing screenshots.
Oh, yeah.
And just looking at, like, this is this character, I think this is this, like, and the excitement and
yeah.
the enthusiasm and the passion. Like,
Yeah, and
I
that's
was
why they
excited
ignore
before,
Age of
and now I'm
Mythology
even more
community
excited because
since,
seeing
well,
how the
no,
fans
well,
have reacted
for
to what you've
years.
shown them so
Don't
far.
give it any kind of
Yeah, they're
attention
today.
whatsoever.
They're the beating heart of the
Ah,
franchise.
there we
That's
go,
why
with those
we've been
classic
going
lives.
For 27 years this year, you know, the fans have kept the franchise going.
Which
And
is,
we've
of course,
brought them
something that
on
just like
side
people
with
who are
us.
not
You know,
in the
we
community have
a
no
player
idea
council
about, of
who've been
course.
helping to
So they're
build
just gonna be
Retold
gobbling
with
it up
us,
and
who are
down.
fans of the original game who know what it should feel like.
Like her,
look
for
like,
example, she
sound
can
like,
definitely get
play
that kind of
like,
impression, but
and
we who are
still
in,
want that
we know
feeling
what's the
of
reality.
original as we bring Retold to life, and they've been helping us shape that, telling us what works and telling us what doesn't, and how we can make it better. So they're very much.
Well, maybe Flame.
Yep.
It's definitely
See,
true
like
that I
Rose
can't
said,
make
right,
concise
we-
videos,
all our
so
titles, our fans that have been.
if she
like,
happened to watch the 3-hour video,
us
then
for
I
so
feel
long
sorry
now.
for her, but
you know, we really
thanks
do
for the
care
view, I
about
guess.
the community a lot. I've now met fans that talk about like, oh, I'm now teaching my kids how to play this game, and so
Yeah,
it's
we've
now
seen that.
cross-generational. So it is amazing.
Yeah, parents playing with kids. During lockdown, we had people homeschooling history with Age of Empires games.
No
when the schools
way!
are shut. And, you know, people who've gone in and become history teachers because they learned history from the game. So we are.
At
very
least
lucky
it's
to
so
do it.
far
And we
somewhat
are well
reasonable
aware that we're in a
talk.
very
There have been
wonderful
way
position to
worse
bring
and
people
they
forward.
kind of
I
more
hate to sound like a broken record, but I feel like all
egregiously
week we've been hearing
outrageous
from,
before.
developers
So
who,
this is
again,
quite
like
fine.
that connection with the community is super
they're right
important.
now
So I won't
talking
belabor
about and how
anymore,
they're
but it
talking
is
about
great
it,
to hear
so that's okay.
that fans and players around
gonna
the
be a good
world can
message.
connect.
Mentioning it.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Give it a shout out to
They're
the
the
players.
heartbeat of what we do. So.
Yeah. So one thing I've always had a question on, and I'm glad that you two are here to kind of clear this up for me. So how does a retold title like this differ from something like a definitive edition title? What is the specific difference?
No, that they wanted to do Age of Mythology
So
too,
I
but
worked
then
on
they
all
backed
the
down and
definitive editions
decided
so
to
far.
use the
So
original
I can
game.
definitely say that the go for the definitive edition is like the definitive edition. We try to build the awesome game that people remembered, so that they are updated with like new graphics or new way of playing the game to make sure that you really get
Yeah, I
to
remember
play
when they
this
were
in your
making those
head,
comparisons, that it was
exactly
quite
how
a
you
bit
remember
disingenuous.
You remember,
Yeah, the
but
game
not
didn't
exactly
look
how
as
it
bad as
really
they
was.
can like
So,
use the
but like
screenshots thereof.
that is the game that we want to
I
build.
remember that. That
So, but
wasn't
for
too cool of
Retold,
them.
we do everything that we have been doing for definitive editions, but we go beyond that. We are actually going to add new mechanics, new features in the game. So it's not just about preservation. We are going to like add new ideas and new game to really
Still curious what that god power is going to be. By the way, funny how I made a short on that god power. That set is gonna be having something new. Of course, don't know what, but seems like that most people actually are watching it with the expectation that there's gonna be information what it is, and when they don't learn that, they just immediately go into dislike there. It's a bit interesting, like how people actually are assuming the information.
to really
It looks to me it's gonna be tied. My theory is that monuments are gonna be having area of effect as in Age of Empires 4. Where in Age of Empires 4, for example, fortresses typically, for example, for French, if you have stables around the fortress, then the stables are working faster. So I'm thinking that's gonna be something similar here. Similar to the temporal scaffolding with Kronos for the faster creation of buildings around manors and whatnot. We have seen the effect in the trailer around the TC as well, so maybe it's gonna be common. And I'm thinking this might be similar for set, that you're gonna be having the monument, and around that, military buildings will be working faster, maybe. Something along those lines I'll be expecting it could be. No, yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well, Flame, that it's going to be. It's the most logical thing. It doesn't work on temples, so it's gonna be just like, which is kinda interesting because it's also military building. It's gonna be simply some specific bonuses, replacing maybe the cheaper migdals for set and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm expecting that will be something like that, and that's also why it's highlighted, and it's gonna be more area of effects in the game like that. Or cheaper units even. Could be.
because I think we're lucky enough that at 2024 we finally have hardware that can do this concept really the justice it deserved. So it is fantastic.
They really shouldn't have sped up the trailer. It's a big mistake because it looks worse than when you're gonna be having the normal Age of Mythology speed. It's a mistake.
I do want to go back to what you said a little bit now on the idea of games looking now like we thought they looked back then. Because that is something that
that does have special.
discovered so recently.
It kind of looks that way. That it's sweeping at. Okay, I switched over a bit more. It looks like it's going to be some swooping attack there. It's kind of funny how it's actually disconnected from the actual like movement and damage, by the way, there, because the damage is way before he's even reaching that.
So, but for Retold, actually going to add new mechanics, new features in the game. So it's not just about preservation. We're going to like add new ideas and.
Yeah, you can see right now he's starting and the building is already crumbling, right? It is massively disconnected, kind of like area of damage in there. And you can say now also it's damaging that. It's actually fairly massive damage because if you look at it, right now if you're gonna be having this screen before he starts attacking, the building, the siege workshop is not having destroyed the clothing in there and whatever. And right now, when the attack starts, then you're gonna be getting the damage. It's a massive area of damage, apparently. So it looks like the Nidhogg does have some special, unless they just gonna increase like the scope that it's gonna be doing. Which frankly is an interesting way to go about increasing his power, because he currently does have splash, it's not too big, and increasing it further is making pretty good sense. Nidhogg is absolutely there. I'm wanting to get improved massively long term. He's just like so underwhelming. So yeah, it looks like it maybe they just increase the spread damage. But this is kind of funny how actually the distance. I'm thinking it's based. This could be by the way how large the damage is, the area, right? If it's already in here and he's there, that's gonna be the area of damage therefore he's doing. Even here to the right, it's gonna be probably catching just the corner and that's gonna be enough for the damage. So I imagine it's gonna be a really large. Maybe entrance splash, kind of like a charge attack Like a charge variant, maybe? That's an interesting thought. They have added charge into Age of Empires 2, so it's not out of the question. It's in Age of Empires 4 as well, so possibly. Trigger from editor? I wouldn't think so. I think it's gonna be connected. I'm not entirely believing they will be going that far. By the way, there's that one set animal to the right. It's gonna look entirely well visible now. That I noticed earlier, before we have seen the ones today. It's kind of bad to see here, but if you have a look at the full quality of the video, it's kind of like some kind of seal almost, so I don't know what kind of animal it is, but it is something.
To really, because I think we're lucky enough that at 2024 we finally have hardware that can do this concept really the justice.
What kind of concept he's talking about?
But we go beyond that. We are actually going to add new mechanics, new features in the game. So it's not just about preservation. We are going to like add new ideas and new game to really. Because I think we're lucky enough that at 2024 we finally have hardware that can do this concept really the justice it deserved. So it is fantastic. We get to add some new features that that people will really like. So yeah, going beyond all those.
I do want to go back to what you said a little bit now on the idea of games looking now like we thought they looked back then. Because that is something that I have just discovered so recently, but I'm like, wow, to me on the CRT TV, this looked amazing. And then you go back and you play and you're like, oh,
You play and you go, oh,
yikes. Okay, that's not quite what it was like. Yeah.
Yes.
And so I hear you brought a few images to really showcase to players who are viewing this the difference and really that jump.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk through those.
But is he saying that on TV it's looking better than on computer screen?
Wow.
Would be kind of like the,
To me on the CRT TV, this looked amazing. And then you go back and you play and you're like, oh,
You play and you go, oh,
yikes. Okay, that's not quite what it was
Right.
like. Yeah.
I'm liking how they're actually surprised by that. How she's actually like, what the hell? He's saying our game is ugly. That's kind of funny.
Yes.
And so I hear you brought a few images to really showcase to players who are viewing this the difference and really that jump.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk through those.
Yeah.
He's
So,
talking
the
about right
first
about
one
now
that we're
the.
gonna show,
I think
so
he's
this
talking
is-
about the new game though, that it looks good on TV but bad otherwise.
On the idea of games looking now like we thought they looked back
Or
then.
is he?
That is something that I have just discovered so recently, but I'm like, wow, to me on the CRT TV, this looked amazing. And then you go back and you play and you're like, oh,
You play and you go, oh,
yikes.
Oh,
Okay,
Yeah,
that's
you're probably
not
right.
quite what it was
Right.
like. Yeah.
Yes.
And
You're
so
probably right that
I
it was-
hear you
they was
brought a
talking
few
about the
images
original
to
one, but
really
still.
showcase to players who are viewing this the difference and really that jump.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's talk through those.
Yeah. So the first one that we're going to show, so this is a screenshot from a campaign mission from 2002. So again, envision it on that CRT monitor,
Yeah.
and in your, I don't know, the PC room at your university.
640
Yeah. Take yourself back to 2002.
Yeah.
And this is what it looks like
Incredible.
in Retold.
Oh my
so this is the same shot.
How about
from
making
the same
comparison with
mission as
using the
first mission of
config file
campaign,
that everybody
and
is
you can
using
see the
today?
difference.
Yeah, the
Are you
level of
brave enough to
detail
do
in
that,
the
maybe?
water, obviously the ripples in the water. And,
Or do you need to be
additional
just like
foliage and
going
trees and
all the
just
way into
that
the
added
prehistoric
level of
ages,
detail,
even
so
though
you all
nobody
really
plays
went
it that
deep
way
into
anymore?
Oh yeah, the art team, basically everything has been redone, reimagined, retold, if you will.
Oh,
I had a friendly kraken.
Oh, well,
Is he shaking his hand? Like
Yeah, at least the
I
fish are looking are not gonna be suffering from extended edition treatment and invisibility. They seem
It's
to be
nice that
well
it
visible.
looks that way. I wouldn't necessarily say you're gonna have to play to find out. Maybe play to find
friend
out.
Well, his name is George now, and he looks really friendly to me. I'm open to being wrong. It kind of sounds
There we
like
go.
I
I
am,
mean,
but
that's canon now.
this
right?
is my truth.
Yeah, sure.
This is my
Sounds good.
truth.
Yeah. But we're going to take a look at some units as well. So this is an Atlantean Titan. So you can see on the left, 2002 looks great.
good. Looks great.
Yeah.
Retold looks better.
Greater.
Yeah, greater. Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
You can tell he's made out
Well,
of
I've seen
Yeah, he's had a glow
different
up.
opinions if they like this one or not.
Literal glowing with the
kinda don't
particle
care.
effects. Yeah, so he looks great.
Yeah.
We can take a look at some of the building
Destruction.
destruction animations. So you can see the original, and then coming through to Retold. Our art director Melinda does a great. She also does an action and a sound for like the original versus Retold. And you see, the building gets impacted and it just sort of drops.
Yeah.
And then here we've added.
Some interesting kind of like low FPS there. at the end on the right side for some reason.
You see, you know, the building gets impacted and it just...
Yeah, I'm really liking a lot more the kind of like colors in the original game. Why is it kind of like a bland Age of Empires 4, like almost? They just got... No, that's actually what it reminds me of, why I don't like it as well, because I didn't like it there. Just like the bland, ugly grass. That's why it looked actually so odd to me on the Alfheim. Because I'm definitely liking a lot more vibrant colors in games than just kind of like this nonsense.
drops.
Yeah.
And then here we've added the particle effect. It crumbles. You've got...
Yeah, it doesn't look as bad with the lighting actually that you have somewhat properly for the map. But nonetheless, still kind of thinking that it's a bit washed up, the colors, than it necessarily needs to be. Okay, something interesting here for us. Okay, there's the cost. Yeah, okay, seems like it right now that is gonna be the cost. That is Son of Osiris. You can say it now 965, 200 pop limit, by the way. On how many TCs? Okay, one... Excuse me? That's 200 pop on 2 TCs? That's a bit extreme. I mean, like, increase pop limit maybe, but 200 on 2 TCs. What that means is you don't have to be going for the extra TCs. You can go 2 TC turtle and you win. That's what it's probably gonna be meaning, though. Okay. That's having me slightly curious about how balanced this is going to be. That's what I was really worried about. I mentioned that as soon as they said that there is going to be a different amount of pop limit, that it could very much result into no need to go for the TCs in certain playstyles. So that's really concerning for me. Maybe you're gonna be going back into TC meta and basically like nothing else really needed in there. That's a Son of Osiris, I'm thinking, because it's in Isis. Or no, that's a Ra. Based on the... That's gonna be Ra. Right about now, Siege Tower's looking somewhat alright. Sphinxes, so he's through Bust, of course. Rain. No, based on the Rain is, of course, Ra. And he's advanced through Sekhmet, looking at the Citadel. Huh. It's very interesting how you have it here, and you don't have it with the others. So you're gonna be having first casting, obviously, for free. And then probably if you already have one, yeah, because you can see right now all the way top there, and top side, there is Son of Osiris. So when you actually get the second, that's when you have to pay. I mean, like, the resources are not representative here, because, I mean, like, just not going to be any kind of great player, it's just like a demo. So we can't entirely say and tell. But that pop limit ratio is a bit concerning to me, to be honest. Flame saying there's gonna be some drop into FPS, so all the way top side. Let's have a look. By the way, interesting that there is a pause. Oh, but that's a single player. It's against an AI, so of course. And he's... What is he? He's in Norse. He's in Odin, right? It looks like Odin, probably, even though it's kinda hard to say. What is the... Is that Odin? I can't tell, really, if it's Odin or not. The picture looks like Odin with the horned helmet. It's a bit different statue, but probably Odin.
The smoke.
The dust, is it?
Dust, yeah.
350 cost for second Son of Osiris. That's a bit interesting though, second Son of Osiris, how it's gonna be working. You can see the third one is gonna be having cooldown and higher cost at 400. But interesting is, you therefore gonna be getting a new pharaoh automatically, or are you needing to be getting new kingdom for that? Interesting is also that is having like 3 seconds of what?
Sometimes watching the buildings.
Okay, the drop to
destroyed is
47
actually one of my favorite
FPS.
parts in our games, actually, because it's done
It's like
so
3 seconds to
destroyed
cast
beauty.
it, apparently.
Cathartic, right?
I mean, it's heartbreaking when you build this beautiful city and then, you know. But,
Cows? Interestingly, cows not getting affected by damage. That's a change, because currently you, of course, do get affected. Huh. What is that right now? That wasn't there before next to Scarab. Some kind of snake around the staff? What the hell? What's that about? Increased damage, by the way, 77 than we have actually seen before. I guess some kind of upgrade there for Scarab. There's gonna be an upgrade that currently we don't have in the game, most probably. Interesting. But yeah, you can see right now there's gonna be a cooldown, and how quickly is it going down? Can we tell?
That's heartbreaking if it's yours.
It is, and there's still some beauty to it.
Okay,
being
Harrison is
destroyed.
building
Yes.
currently Titan
Beautiful
Gate.
disaster, and then you get to
And whatever
exactly
else on the left side,
try
some
it again.
Hillfort probably.
Definitely. So,
Oh no, that's a no. That looks like a wonder actually, based on the size. Yeah, that's actually that's actually a wonder. Okay. How did it decrease? About like that in maybe 10 seconds. That looks like the cooldown is gonna be minutes. It's looking like a few minutes is gonna be the cooldown probably. But that's still, that unkept favor is worrying me. Especially how it's gonna be also gathered for the gods, for like the from the monuments. And you can see it now, that's the special building. Yeah, that's the special building. We actually weren't certain what it's all about. And apparently it's gonna be for all Norse then. Because this is, in my opinion, Odin. Unless it's the Freyr. How is actually Freyr depicted? What else you look like? Something specific. Dude on a boar, apparently. With animals. Doesn't seem to be having the helmet. Oh, well. Oh. That might be actually the Freyr, though. If you're gonna be assuming that he's there for like a tied with Hunt. And therefore maybe that's what they're doing in there for him. No, tough to say currently, if it's the Freyr or not. Still holding that it might be Odin, but otherwise it to be explained in the building, because it seems like it's gonna be overflowing with resources, and that to be fit in the Freyr theme. Which will be, by the way, confirmation that this is... that he's either major or minor god. Maybe still could be like a minor to Odin, for example, as well.
We've got Arcantos. So Arcantos is the hero of the campaign, and again, he's just looking a little bit more defined, a little bit. He's got more detail to him. We can see him looking great. He's ready to go and
yeah, people were complaining that she's not golden because I mean, like they said that she should be golden because she's a goddess and whatnot. But in the end, I'm kind of okay with the bronze. I mean, like it was a Bronze Age, so.
Detail that we've been able to bring in Retold. We wanted to include some animals for Jen.
No, I have definitely seen some kind of different pictures of Arcantos, and he definitely didn't have such a kind of like whatever for the spear. He was having a lot more normal spear. So I'm entirely 100% certain they are being genuine here. But otherwise, it kind of looks probably fitting.
See the level of detail that we've been able to bring in Retold. We wanted to include some animals for Jen.
Yay! And I'm loving this.
So you've got the Trojan horse, technically, you know, animal-like, but then we've
Animal
got
adjacent.
animal adjacent, and then we've got our goat and our doe, who are just, you know, looking just fantastic in Retold.
I mean, I would pet all of them.
Slight upgrade.
I would absolutely pet all of them.
One thing our executive producer Tim loves is as the animals eat, they get fatter.
No way, you actually built that in?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
New feature in Retold.
Dynamic animals.
I love that.
Yeah. So we've got the behemoth here.
Okay, so they're going to be
Again,
graphically getting
just
bigger, the animals.
So
Oh well.
good in Retold, and
The
just
definition in those tusks and the fangs and all that. Oh my god,
just
that's
looking
incredible.
so good.
Yeah, I was actually mentioning that I couldn't remember the name last time.
We've got
what
Cerberus
he actually
here.
is.
And those
I was mentioning Triceratops, but this is more like Protoceratops. That's kind of like the smaller guy. It looks like that. It used to be one of my favorite dinosaurs when I was a kid. So some kind
And the
of
fangs
mix,
and all
I
that.
guess.
It's looking so good. We've got Cerberus here. So if
No,
folks
and the
watched
different
our
sphinxes,
New
as you already
Age
mentioned.
event, we actually
Hierarcho and Cryo
included
sphinxes.
in AR, it sort of like folks watch.
So Cryo is the one with the ram's head. Hierarcho Sphinx is the falcon head and the normal one. It's a bit weird that it's a dude. Because shouldn't it be actually female? Fairly certain that Sphinx should be female face. Not certain. Won't be entirely right about not complaining about that. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Just kind of like always remembers things as with the female face. But maybe that's because of some movies, I don't know. I'm not sure if it's maybe some kind of inspiration by somebody. Head of a human. No. Merciless being head of a woman. Yeah, in Greek tradition. Maybe it's gonna be different in other traditions, not sure. Ah! Yeah, that's where I'm actually getting the confusion from, because in Egyptian mythology, it's depicted as a man. So that's the difference between those two. Interesting. So yeah, it's gonna be proper to be a man. But yeah, I've also kind of noticed the mentions that maybe Ulfsaks are also gonna be females. Maybe depending on what kind of village you transform it from. Okay, so male one seems to be correct.
Watched our New Age event, we actually recreated him in AR, at sort of life, not quite true life scale. And then we've got the Sphinx as well. So we've got distinct visual upgrades, and it's just looking so good. Again, you play it in 2002, you think it looks great, you're on the technology of the time, you know, but we've really sort of brought it up to date. 4K, ray tracing, all the models have been redone. We've added new details. It's just looking fantastic. So huge kudos. I had no part in this. Kudos to the art team. It's looking amazing.
And this, honestly, it is also not just the art, right? The sound was upgraded.
Yes.
Well, that sounds pretty much the same. Yeah, you can see it now. There's a shift click into 5. Yeah, definitely no auto queue. Shift click in units, no auto queue. Confirmed. So, if somebody was hoping for AQ, then you are gonna be disappointed. Can see still levy, upgrades into Elise, camels, chariots, they're still the same. Nothing else here. I kinda don't mind myself. And currently I'm thinking it's a mistake to remove it. Now, after 20 years. I'm thinking it's a mistake. It's just like, it's not like people are not gonna be playing it because they're so good. Absolutely not. Based on what's automated in other games, nah, no way. So, yeah, I'm not entirely certain about the motivation for that. But they already didn't include it, for example, in AoE 4, so it was to be somewhat expected that maybe they are going to be going into same thing. Oh, Shadowfax and Super Rafim are gonna be quite happy, like, as experts in vanilla.
All the other features is upgraded as well. And
I mean, like, the sounds
I do
are
want to give
absolutely the
kudos
same.
To, like, Ensemble, who created the original game. I'm a big fan of, and the game was already super fun. But honestly, the hardware at the time, there was limitation. It was the first 3D games that in the Age of Empires series. So people probably did not even remember that 3D game was a big deal at the time. And honestly, at the time, I thought like, graphics will never get better than this. This is amazing. So, right, and it was great.
Oh yeah,
and,
it was looking great, and still kind of is, though it needs to be a bit of acquired by now.
Game, we noticed that people, when they play against each other, you can actually, most of the god powers, you can only use it once. So what ends up happening is people keep like, I'm going to save it, I'm going to save this for the right moment.
Oh, I
but
No,
like,
and that's the like a great thing. That's like the purpose of it all. That it's supposed to be something superbly special instead of just going into the supermarket and just gonna spamming it like a madman. Like, that's completely stupid representation and idea about that. Like, why would you be saying that that's inherently wrong? It's just like not true at all. That's like basically saying that, well, you have World Cup in football every 4 years. So yeah, it's gonna be extremely stressful to make it through into the tournament, have good games. You're gonna be stressed and it's gonna be hard tournament. No, that's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of that. Instead, if you had the World Championship every year like in hockey, it's not as much of a special event. Same as with Olympics. Like, what kind of justification is this? Jesus Christ.
what ended up happening is the match will actually end, and then they never actually
use
get
it.
to use it. But those are the coolest things that you get to do in the game. So what we are doing in Retold, as an example of new features we're adding is now.
Yeah, I would be liking to see a game where you don't use all the god powers. I mean, like, again, how disconnected can you be actually from how the game is actually played?
God power. So what we are doing in Retold, as an example of new features we're adding is now God powers are rechargeable.
Nice.
So you can use it multiple times and strategically that like change how you think about how to use those, and it is like much more fun. In fact, we also added a new age called the Wonder Age, and during the Wonder Age, you would actually be able to use the God powers for even cheaper costs. So at a discount, so you get to use it even more. So God powers.
So 5th age,
everywhere.
and you're gonna be able to have
Yeah.
cheaper
Just
god
more.
powers.
I'm into that.
yeah.
I'm very into that.
Somewhat of a
Just
mechanism
chaos.
to end
Our
the game
designer,
sooner, probably.
Lead designer Kristen calls it the bacchanal of chaos. It's just at the end of the game, everything's cheaper. You can just go for it and just unleash everything you've got, and it's just.
It's gonna be really having implications on how you
Such
can
a
get
good
in the
thing to do,
favor now.
honestly, because I don't know about you, but any game I play where I can like.
Because I
hold
mean,
on
like,
to
if you
something
think
and,
about it,
like, it's an
Atlanteans, for
important
example,
resource,
and
I get to
Egyptians
the end of the game, I'm
should
like,
be
I know
inherently
this.
disadvantaged
Or like
against
when
Greeks,
you know
for
you're about to
example.
win, like in a strategy game like this.
So
and
I
you
don't know.
Like,
That seems kind
you're
of
like, I'm not losing past this
definitely
point, and then you do it just because
tacky
you
on the
can.
balance.
But it's not that it
not
helped
'cause
you
you
at
need
all.
to.
Like it
Yeah.
wasn't a strategic thing. You're just like, I'm doing it now because I just want to make sure I do it.
Yeah.
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 So Wonder Age is just going to be really, really fun.
More is
awesome.
more. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
More is more.
You
Yeah.
know?
That's awesome.
Um,
So now I know the game hasn't even come out yet, but did I hear that you might be able
heard
to
a
talk about some of the future additional content and expansion? Please, pretty please, I want it.
Well, as you said, pretty please. Yeah. Okay, so there are going to be 2 expansions for Age of Mythology Retold, and if you pre-order our premium edition, those will be included.
Ooh.
So you'll get the game and the expansions, and we're not
I'll
ready
get
to
to the
talk about
interesting
second one
part
yet,
later,
but we are
plus
gonna
with the
tell
god.
you that the first expansion for Age of Mythology Retold is going to be an all-new Chinese pantheon. And we're not ready to show it just yet, but we're going to tell you that it's amazing. It looks great. I think players are really going to love it.
Yeah, it has
So
been
that
somewhere
you
mentioned
can,
that it's supposed to be
get
coming
hold of
this
that as
year.
the
I wouldn't be
first
surprised if it
expansion.
was released
well, that's exciting
DLC.
because not only do players have.
I wouldn't be
September
surprised
4th
by
to
that all that
look forward to
much.
September
I think players are really going to love it. So that you can
I
get hold of
can't
that as the
wait.
first expansion.
Well, that's exciting because not only do players have September 4th to look forward to, September 4th.
Yeah. Pre-order now, please.
But I think any player is always going to want more, and you all you really view that, I'm imagining, as really a starting point for the game.
Oh, gosh,
And
yeah.
those expansions to continue to keep, as the kids would say, keep them fed. I think that's what they say. I don't know.
yeah,
I
I'm
would-
pretty sure that's right.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure that's right.
We like to honestly all our titles for our fans that have been playing our games. They know that we like to think of our titles as evolving titles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right.
really, like the launch day September 4th is really only just a start.
Yeah.
We'll continue to update the game. We'll take feedback from our community, and then continue to keep improving the title. But since you mentioned September 4th and the premium edition, I do want to point out that like the people who get the premium edition will be able to play the game up to 7 days early. So they get early access to the game, get to like play it. So it is going to be fantastic.
Oh, after
and
games
in fact,
come
the
now.
premium edition has more than just early.
Wait,
seven-
there's
up to-
more.
Wait, there's more.
Yeah.
There- not
More
more than just like 7 days early access. They have the 2 expansion packs later on that will be coming. They also have the new Gods pack called Freya, which is new to the game, and also for the
No, yeah. Based how it's right now saying that that's gonna be a new god. That's not any kind of reskin, that's gonna be a new major god, most probably, as we specialized and speculated. So if it's gonna be really locked beyond just the pre-order, no. Considering there's gonna be in-game shop, that's already pretty much right now at this point evident based on the Xbox store page information in there, then no, we can probably expect all kinds of monetization shenanigans coming up, as they are really quite a bit doubling down on that even in the other games. So they've, considering of course they all started with this, with wanting to be and claiming they're gonna be true to kind of like the roots and not gonna be wanting to do microtransactions. No, of course we cannot do in almost a Raid Shadow Legends level and stoop into that, it seems like bit by bit. So I guess you can be expecting a lot more of a deeper level on that in Age of Mythology. So no, I guess prepare your wallets if you want to be playing competitively.
fans that remember the original, so like we have an additional pack that you can change the portrait of the gods.
Okay, so the portraits are gonna be high scaled. I don't think there was anything special here. Seems like it's gonna be all the same. She's having the butt cut off, but that's alright, I guess. But otherwise, those are gonna be available. Doesn't seem like there's gonna be anything new here. Can't see anything different too much. I've already read some kind of news and whatnot that the expansion, the Chinese, should be coming somewhere this year still. I wouldn't be surprised by a release DLC, but who knows in the end. Should be still this year, the first one, if it's gonna be holding true what I've read. And the Loki picture is a bit weird, but nonetheless.
To be the original classic look
You can go
as well.
retro.
So you can go retro. Just for the hardcore fans that they would love those. I highly recommend the premium edition.
Yeah.
It's like it is just really
it's
good.
great. There's so much good stuff in it. It's going to be really, really good.
So
And
all
early access, that's hard to
And
beat.
early access.
yeah,
hard to beat.
I'm no mathematician, but 7 days before September 4th means August. So that means players can play in August if they get the
Yeah.
premium edition. All right, I
Yeah.
love that.
More is definitely more.
More is
It
more.
really
I think that's like the banner. Of
More
this episode,
monsters, more chaos.
right? More
magic,
graphics, more
yeah.
pixels, all of the things.
More fun.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Emma and Ernest, thank you so much for stopping by.
Thanks.
And obviously, like, tell the team, like, great job. And I know players all around the world are excited to jump in
We'll
to
pass that
Age
on.
of Mythology. Yeah, awesome. September 4th. Let's say-
September
September
4th,
4th, why not?
PC and console.
Yeah.
There you go. There we go. Cool. Well, I think that wraps it up for us today on our special strategy-focused episode.
Yeah, that
of
was
the
a decent
official
talk.
Xbox
Much better than
podcast.
the ones
So
that we
huge
have had
thanks
for
to
previous
the
games.
RN
They
Age of Mythology
kinda didn't
total
bullcrap
teams,
or
but we've
anything
got
along
lots
those
of other
times,
special episodes for you
along
to
those
check
lines
out
too
this
much.
week.
So
Here's the schedule, and we're looking forward to
no
welcoming
problem.
even more
Good
special
talk.
guests.
Good show
Make
in.
sure to join us back
Much
here
more
tomorrow.
important
And
than
in the meantime,
the
check
league
out
that was
anything you may
actually
have missed
published and that
earlier in the
everybody has
week
seen that
on
really didn't do all that much of a service to the game.
youtube.com/xbox and on podcast
So
services by
hopefully that
searching for
guy that is
Xbox
gonna live in off leagues
Podcast.
is gonna
See
be
you
cut
tomorrow.
off completely, because I just kinda don't like those people anyway in the first place, because it's simply not great. No, and tons of information, some definitely rebalancing, heavy rebalancing going on. Very much concerned about the population limit there on 2 TCs 200. Yeah, that's a bit extreme, because I mean, like, even how they were playing that, they just gonna taking extra TCs. Sure, they noobs obviously playing it, but that's exactly what's gonna happen, frankly. I mean, like, just like now, maybe what could be promoting that is feudal age gameplay or classical age gameplay. So something like vanilla. That might be possibly that. Okay, that's something else. I was kind of looking if maybe there wasn't some official info. So yeah. No. Interesting. God powers are therefore gonna be cooldown, and after first use you're gonna be able to pay for them for favor. Unlocked favor is also another major concern because of different ways of gathering that, and therefore it could just gonna result into certain favor spam. But I mean, like, imagine the Loki, right? He's gonna have to be nerfed hardcore and flaming weapons as well, because otherwise you're just gonna be getting millions of favor during flaming weapons, and you're gonna be able to vomit like 20 piggies, because it also seems like that the population limit for myth units is gonna be lowered. It looked to me, based on what kind of pop limit we had in the campaign, it looks like that maybe all myth units are gonna be 3 maybe. So that's also gonna be interesting to note. Higher amount of villages. On one hand, who cares? On the other hand, you could be having some pretty brutal Ragnarok because of it. If it's gonna be broken the limit also for Norse. Even though you would have to be making up for that longer. Even today, getting 130 Ragnarok is hard, so maybe it's gonna be smaller concern. In team games could be bigger, but probably not too much. So that seems like that might be okay. However, getting repeatable god powers, it's gonna be interesting how they're gonna be countering each other. Because then what it could be heading into is that you're simply going to be still practically playing the same as today. You're gonna be having flaming weapons, and the opponent is gonna be having to constantly halt ceasefire and or frost. So it might not be playing that different in this kind of specific scenario, but the Son of Osiris God Power Extra, I'm not really a fan of that. Son of Osiris is extremely overpowered even as it is now. And having that multiple times, if you're gonna be careful enough, having like 3 Son of Osiris is on the battlefield. I don't want to be fighting against that. I really don't. No, yeah, Ragnaroks, exactly. The different ways of getting inferior for like Atlantean and for the even for the Egyptian, that's just like so weird. That's gonna have to be somehow tuned and changed. So yeah, that's not entirely all that kind of nice, or kind of nice. Easy to kind of imagine how it's gonna be working. Where is right now that picture of here?
It is.
I'd be liking to
This
see
is
the statistics of the
beautiful
Son of
city, and then
Osiris somehow, if we could.
so the building gets impacted and it just sort of drops.
Yeah.
And then here we've added the
Oh, the FPS is a bit kind of sketch for 1v1 with kind of high army though at the same time. That's gonna be also a concern if you already see that FPS drops on the God Power scars, even stupid Son of Osiris. Or maybe some kind of because it's all the attack, not sure. But the bigger amount of units, the worse of course performance is gonna be coming. It's making a mummy, by the way, at the end.
particle effect. It crumbles. You've got all
The
the
smoke.
dust. Is
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
And sometimes it crumbles. You've got
The
all the
smoke.
dust. Is
Yeah,
it?
dust, yeah.
And sometimes
At 3-second casting, that's a bit weird. Can we like kill him during that? Like, can we like bolt him during that time? So that you are gonna be preventing him from being finished? Is that maybe what it's supposed to be meaning?
watching the buildings get destroyed is actually one of my favorite parts in our games.
I'll be loving to see the
Destroy
stats of the
beauty.
Son of
Yeah,
Osiris, how much of a
right?
problem
I
it's
mean,
going
it's
to be.
heartbreaking when you build this beautiful city and then, But
Yeah, okay. So, that's the info, and there is also some kind of extra article, but I'm not certain if it's gonna be having too much of an extra info here, but you can read through that. I've also seen mentioned. Yeah, it also seemed like that it's locked to 60 FPS. No, well, considering what we have seen, then it seems like that performance is probably gonna be a bit of an issue. And this was only 1v1, so I just kinda don't want to imagine what's gonna happen in a 3v3. That was a problem always in the previous remasters as well, and it still is a major problem in Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition. That's why team games are not entirely that much of a competitive thing there. It is a big issue still, even on decent computers. And the fact that one player can be lagging the game for everybody else. So yeah, the server side is not entirely fully server side as you could be imagining in Counter-Strike. It's not how it works. It's gonna still lockstep, so therefore if there is a slow player, he's gonna be lagging it for everybody anyway. In a certain way. Not every time, but in a certain way, still is an issue. Same as out of syncs can be happening. They are a lot less common now, luckily, but they used to be a huge and major issue in 2D after launch. No, yeah, scenarios with a lot of actual activity going on could be could be quite problematic as far as the performance. So still something that needs to be seen on beta. Hopefully there's gonna be some. It's very concerning they actually didn't announce it. It almost looks like there's not gonna be a beta, and they're just gonna be having a demo on Gamescom and then the early launch. Because I don't see a reason why not to actually announce there's gonna be a beta in like a month, because not like they have time for anything else. There's literally 3 months to release, or 2.5 if you're gonna be wanting the pre-release. So I don't know if you're actually even gonna be getting a beta at this point. Is it only playable on Windows 10? I'll be assuming so. Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition is that way. It can be played or could be played through some hacks on 7, but I'm not entirely certain if that's still viable. So you probably should be expecting Windows 10. Otherwise, as you mentioned, where do we have right about now? Maybe do we have it on this page as well? Probably not. Okay, let me right now get the proper page. It's right now also on Steam, so I'm just gonna be showing the Steam. As far as the requirements, I think it's the same as Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition, so it's a pretty good chance I might not be able to stream it. If it's gonna be not as polished performance-wise. I was able to stream Age of Empires 3, but I'm thinking it was already kind of a bit edgy. Not like Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition would be too much better for me in team games, but it's kind of like the toppest level. Let's put it that way. You can say it now. These are the stats that you need to be having your computer upon. The AVIC support, that basically means like you would have to be having like 10 plus years old processor, even more than that. For example, my 11 years old i5-3570 is having that, so yeah, you would have to be having something real old not to be having that. But if you don't have it, you are not gonna be able to run it, as far as I understand those games and the AVX support. Graphics probably somewhat alright, but of course depends what kind of quality is gonna be. So far we have seen it on the highest quality. We haven't seen anything on the lowest quality, for example, how the game is gonna be looking there. That's also something I'll be very much interested in. And also Nima, thank you very much for the follow some time ago. In this gameplay, the graphics looked better than even in the trailer, in my opinion, so I guess I'm gonna be living with it quite fine. Still, the god powers felt weak. For example, the rain, I don't know, it just kind of looked ugly to me, sorry. Thinking it, not like it's anything spectacular in the original game, but it's kind of nice, whimsical, most you could be saying, with the rainbow. Right now it's just like some kind of drowsy, depressing time, even though it's supposed to be the opposite, because we are getting plenty of food from that, so I think it's misunderstanding what it's supposed to be. But yeah. No, and of course, as Joe, for example, says, we don't know what's gonna be with the multiplayer client. We know there's gonna be in-game shop, looks like, based on the description on the Xbox store. But at the same time, we just don't see and don't know what they're gonna be introducing in the multiplayer. At the same time, if the other games are any kind of idea, then it's not gonna be anything great and nowhere near ESO. I'll be very much liking to be wrong about that, because ESO was a superb platform, way ahead of its time, way better than anything that currently is in the age of remasters. So if they did that to be superb, statistics in the game would be really great to have. But is that going to be a thing? No clue. Same as we don't know what modding is gonna be looking like. I've read that modding on 3D is more limited than on even 3E or the 3 as a base game. So not sure. So again, we still need to be getting our hands on that to see what information is gonna be in. No, Windows 11 is trash, but in a year, they're gonna be ceasing support for Windows 10. Windows 10 is ending support somewhere next year. So, yeah, and also the fun part is there's not gonna be some kind of free update into Windows 11. They've already told me, you probably had it as well if you have legit Windows. They told me that I'm not eligible for the free upgrade into Windows 11, so probably because I was already having Windows 10 upgrade from 7. So probably that's gonna be the reason. So if you maybe bought Windows 10, you might be having it, but nonetheless, yeah, that's a bit funny part as well. And it really looks like that, therefore there are gonna be only 8 players in the multiplayer, no 12 free-for-alls and whatnot anymore. That is on that Dutch store shop. So it seems like it's probably gonna be really true. 30 euros, no, well, I was kind of slightly afraid that it could be possibly even a bit more, but nonetheless, it's still $10 and €10 more than Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, so they are still milking us. Well, they sold 2 million copies of Extended Edition, so they're gonna be having happy Christmas anyway, whatever kind of quality it's going to be. But then, of course, depends how much they gonna be want to milk us even further. Support in Linux, kinda hardly. I mean, like Microsoft special games, they only going to be Windows. They always are. No, pre-ordering is never recommended. It's always a mistake. Because you also support in basically developers releasing unfinished games, because that's the only reason, because they can afford it at that point. You've already given them the money, so why should they care about you? So pre-ordering is always a mistake, no? But now, if there's really the god, major god for Norse, that is gonna be time limited and not available after, that is a... If that's really gonna be true, then it's a big D move, to be absolutely honest. So I'm hoping that's gonna be adjusted somehow, because it's otherwise really terrible practice and would be a very sad sign of things to come. Oh, it will. There's a pretty decent hype. And I mean, like, Extended Edition was practically having the same numbers on as HD at launch, but then because it was complete nonsense, then of course dropped that. But I'm thinking that people are having too high expectations as far as the multiplayer. That this is gonna be looking like a huge hype. You're gonna be having 2-3 weeks. You're gonna be having massive, maybe tens of thousands, no, definitely, maybe even hundreds of thousands for a few days on Twitch. But then it's just gonna be dropped like a rock. Because the single players are gonna be done with it. They're gonna move into another game. And not many are gonna be sticking with the multiplayer, in my opinion. So... And if somebody is hoping for some huge tournaments, no, again, I've already shared my opinion on that. I don't think it's coming from Microsoft. Thinking that already the show match on Red Bull is a sign that it's not going to be as much supported. Maybe we're gonna get a few tournaments if we're lucky. Otherwise, Age of Empires 3DE didn't have any kind of support practically. Just like one tournament for a few thousand, that was it. So unless somebody comes from the outside to pull in the money and basically like waste them, then I wouldn't be too optimistic if I were you. And planning to drop your job to go competitive in Age of Mythology, I wouldn't go that far. I would wait at least if it's looking that it's gonna be that way. But don't base this on expecting that you're gonna be getting Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition level of support. Because even Age of Empires 4 is already dropping, kind of. And it's very much feeling it. And it looks like it's on its last legs, kind of. And that's of course the flagship of the whole franchise, so... Age of Empires 2 is also not entirely where it used to be, with even some people considering if they should be even continuing still. So be kind of careful about having too high expectations. Enjoy what you have and what you're gonna be having, but otherwise, careful. That's always what I'm of course gonna be giving as an advice. Yeah, well, good on you, Joe, and in your notice, and Matthews as well. Oh, I mean, like Pesty, I would be surprised if they tried at least one, same as they dipped into Stormgate, but also, for example, the last Age of Empires 4 tournament, you know it well, of course, from the Discord, it's not doing too well viewers-wise, so they might host something like $10,000 for you tournament. So again, unless there's gonna be something outside, I want to see it first before believing it. Otherwise, well, if you're gonna be also hoping for some kind of early domination, then don't forget there are already plenty people playing the game for a long time. Be it the people from Age of Empires 2 from Gamer Legion, there's certainly like Viper and stuff, they're already playing it for sure. Of course, you have Magic Mista. At the same time, Mista is unfortunately farming, so I kind of wonder if he's gonna be unluckily missing the hype. So I'm expecting that Magic is gonna be most probably owning the early stages. But then it's gonna be about how well balanced it's going to be and what kind of broken stuff is gonna be in the game. And how far are gonna be people willing to push it. Again, I'm very much afraid of hand delete abuse. Because that's just basically our house rule in the community and that's gonna be completely ignored by others. So prepare for turbo lame gameplay, most probably. And whoever is not gonna be invited into some kind of backstage testing, wouldn't be putting your hopes too high for the Red Bull, unfortunately, which sucks, but that's how it's always been with the HO franchise. Early accesses have an unfair advantage. But yeah, it's not a serious tournament. I mean, like, really, it's just like a showcase and show match. Gaia Forest not be castable next to gold mines? No, considering that you can definitely do hand delete, I wouldn't be surprised. I would be thinking you can still cast it where you wish. That they haven't changed something like that, probably. Only castable on gold mines, yeah. Having some classic anchor. If you're gonna be Gaia, you're gonna be having a picture, as there was on that gold mine, where you can actually start building mining camp from that. You're gonna be having a Gaia trees there symbol, and it's gonna be auto casting exactly around it to encase it in the most perfect fashion. No, otherwise, well, map screw already in the showcase is not entirely that much of a good look either. Right? That locked off gold mine to the right. Also, the fairly insane amount of gold mines on the map is also kind of scary. Not entirely certain why. Because the lower amount of gold mines that you have in this game is actually what is allowing it to move forward. And not be some kind of snooze fest as Age of Empires 4 with hour-long games for no reason. Because you need to be actively challenging the gold mines. If you are having millions of them, you just kinda don't have to do that. So, that's a mistake. That just like shouldn't be a thing. Town centers are gonna be the same. No, the huge pop limit I'm not a friend of. Again, it's gonna be massively changing how the game is gonna be played, exactly as I expected. Or is having a potential to be that way. It just kinda depends, because this is still noob gameplay right here. So we can't entirely tell what's gonna be competitively, but usually these kind of scenarios, if you're gonna be imagine any kind of game where Norse is playing heavy 1TC classical, typically of course the Loki is, then he's just gonna be going way further. Imagine the Loki now. He's pop at 115, and he can kinda ignore the extra TCs because he's gonna be getting 50 extra pop limit for more myth units. No, good luck with that. And at the same time, what it though means is if you're gonna be having inherently higher pop limit for army this way, you're gonna be practically having weaker role of the economy, you could say. Because for that, you still need to be getting the extra TCs for more villages. So theoretically, this is maybe gonna be countering full eco gameplay. That you're gonna be having more of a... It feels like it could be more vanilla gameplay, as in more action earlier. And now just kinda depends how much overwhelming it's going to be. Because that could be screwing Egyptians over quite a bit. And it's gonna be... No, for the others it just kinda doesn't matter too much, I guess. On the other hand, if you're gonna be having more Greek units, again, their power in the classical is gonna be probably quite a bit annoying. A lot of maybes and a lot of questions balance-wise. It definitely does have potential to be not easy to play it. I'm not sure if somebody's already having Retold for some casting or streaming or whatever. So yeah. No, nonetheless, you're gonna be also getting needing to get some kind of better UI. And better UI, different UI, and especially information on the units. Something like Iperts is gonna be needed. Now let's at this point go for the article. It was something that I've seen extra. If somebody is having some new articles on that as well, please let me know, so you can also have a look at them maybe. So here on, what do we have? Windows Central. Shaping out to be strategy titan, it always deserved to be. Like, it always was good. It was just like a bit unlucky with the timing. Again, they just like rolling in the idea that Age of Mythology is a bad game. No, it's not. If it was a bad game, you wouldn't be having such a massive hype for it. It's a good game. It's, in my opinion, the peak of Ensemble Studios' actually design. In my opinion, it's the best design game by them. It's like most thought through and having most interesting mechanisms that actually work together pretty well. And having even some interesting emergent design. So I just like don't agree with the fact and why they're still trying to make it that Retold is gonna be better? Is it just like marketing talk, or are they really believing that they are somehow improving a crap game? Weird. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, there's no doubt that everybody's gonna be playing this, that, I mean, like, nobody's gonna be playing the original AoM Woobly anymore. That's not gonna be the main platform. It would have to be complete trash on launch, but I don't... Even if it were, frankly, even when Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition was unplayable at the start, it still became the main platform instantaneously. But that was because of selloutism by the streamers as well, because as far as I remember, they were even actually asked not to be rated in the game. I remember specifically Viper and T90 even mentioned it on streams, so yeah. I wonder if there's gonna be some asking like that for Retold as well. But nonetheless, yeah. I'm not having any kind of doubt that it's gonna be the main platform. Whatever's gonna be the result. And either it's gonna work, or, well, it's gonna be the end of the community. But if even Extended Edition couldn't kill it, then this probably won't either. Even if whatever happened there. Nobody is gonna be going to Spain. Definitely not Age of Mythology. It's gonna be cast by AoE 2 people. As it was before. Even before, there weren't Age of Empires forecasters, if I'm not mistaken, in the first Red Bull. Maybe like... No, I don't think that maybe even one was there. It was cast by... who was already in. I mean, like, it's a low-cost event. You're not gonna be finding Boyd from Australia, definitely not. Or I would be very surprised if they did, unless he's gonna be paying his own ticket. And I'd still be thinking that's complicated for them, so I don't really see that happening for a show match practically. For like a few games. Okay, so, maybe more efficient way to clear the Egyptian army in my path, but I'm content to watch meteors rain down, sending men and monsters flying while buildings crumble. As the path is clear, I send my giants charging, slamming into the Titan and absorbing its huge blows while Centaurs in the backline rain down arrows. There's supposedly going to be not a special attack on always hit, but some kind of like arrow fire rain. Something like the barrage from the Chinese. That would be quite a bit disappointing to me, because I'm thinking that how they currently work is a very interesting skill measure in the game and skill effect. So removing it wouldn't be too kind of fond of that, I guess. At the same time, it is a bit harder to balance, but frankly, I'm thinking that on the Woobly we are currently in a very good spot regarding that. Materials, the show match, that's the tournament for Red Bull. It's practically a glorified show match, based on the fact there are plenty people who are playing it, or some people playing it already ahead. So qualification is gonna be practically a farce. Just maybe get some... No, I mean, like, you're having 2 invitations and 2 from the qualification. So whoever's gonna be invited and then 2 people, but most of those are most probably going to be all the people playing it in the background anyway. So, yeah. That's why I just like the show match practically. It's not a serious tournament in my opinion. It's huge blows, Centaurs rain down arrows. I cast my last god power, armoring my units and keeping them safe long enough to eke out the victory. So went one key battle in Age of Mythology Retold, the latest Age game being rebuilt by the teams at World's Edge and Xbox Game Studios. First confirmed to be in the works a while ago before being properly revealed earlier in the year, Age of Mythology Retold takes what players like me loved about the original game and repackages it for modern hardware, with gorgeous graphics and a number of changes to the gameplay, particularly in allowing god powers to be recharged. Shortly after Xbox Games Showcase 2024, I had the chance to play Age of Mythology Retold for about 20 minutes, as well as speaking to some of the developers about the work that's gone into crafting the experience. Like again, so that was... This is kind of funny, right? Why was there for the leak actually of that evidently old beta or alpha or whatever leaked? Like, what's the purpose of that? Evidently there were people already playing the new version. So why wasn't that leaked? That is so stupid, actually. My guess is that one invitee is gonna be Magyar, and second is gonna be somebody from Age of Empires 2. That's my guess. Either it could be maybe Doubt, if he doesn't make Age of Empires 2, because he used to be top expert in Age of Mythology, or maybe Kapok it could be also, because he also used to be expert in AoM. But Kapok is not entirely as well known. Doubt would be a good marketing choice for them. Or maybe just like simply Viper, but he's gonna be playing AoE 2 probably. So yeah. But I'm thinking that Magyar is very likely in my opinion, since he's involved in the development evidently, based on his comeback last year. So shortly, 20 minutes, crafting the experience, new generation of hardware. Right before jumping in, Ernst Yuan, director of production at World's Edge, showed a direct comparison of what the original Age of Mythology looked like compared to the visuals in Retold. New Age of Mythology had well aged compared to what it would like in my nostalgic mind's eye, but the level to which this remake improves things is just ridiculous. Every screenshot is packed to the brim with gorgeous detail along coastlines, with better defined buildings and detailed unit models that hold up well, even heavily zoomed in. No, that's also something they haven't seen, and we haven't seen. They have seen and shown just zoom out, but they haven't seen and shown how clearly in you can be zooming in. You're probably gonna be having a need for extra HD textures, as it is in Age of Empires 2, for example. That if you don't have it, you can just gonna zoom a bit. But if you do have that, you can go all the way in, so based on your computer, of course. No, and for my time playing Age of Mythology Retold, I was given access to a special demo that's been built specifically for preview purposes. No, that's the same as in the League, but hopefully better therefore. Several heroes trying to stop a Titan from destroying the world. Along the way, new reinforcements and god powers were granted for destroying enemy fortresses and temples, and I opted to play with a mouse and keyboard, though control stations were available. Controlling different groups of warriors was easy, god powers were similarly mapped in a way that made them quick to use and identify. As I carved through the demo, my troops had different tactical options despite the time limit. Did I want to use underworld gates to... By the way, Flame, you were right, that picture that we were wondering about in the trailer, it was an underworld passage next to the Titan, filled with lava, that it wasn't anything else, so you were correct. At the same time, it doesn't make too much of a sense to me because, I don't know, I just kind of thought that it's some opening into ground and not lava in there. That's how I always imagined underworld passage. Easy, carve through. Did I want to use underworld gates to get around groups of foes or risk fighting them for additional rewards before taking on the Titan? Taking different routes also meant getting different kinds of reinforcements before the big battle, with Norse and Egyptian encampments opposite each other on the map. No matter what I did, the unfolding gameplay was downright gorgeous, and seeing creatures fall to lightning as minotaurs toss mere mortals around simply doesn't get old. Having god powers be rechargeable is such a sorely needed change. I'm fascinated to see how they affect the gameplay outside of this demo. They're just like so disingenuous though here though. Because in the demo you are getting them automatically one after the other, so it's absolutely not representative of what's going on in the game itself. This seems to be purposefully misleading by Microsoft, just to be kind of like showcasing that you're gonna be getting millions of god powers all the time. Well, that's not really gonna be true. Because probably most people are not even gonna be... With how it is designed, it almost looks like that most people are not gonna be even getting to use too many variants of them, frankly. That it's gonna be maybe not entirely as awesome as people think, as far as getting them constantly and all the time. Nonetheless, unique for Xbox and PC, Age of Mythology Retold presents a huge opportunity in just how far the team at World's Edge has come. While prior Age of Empires games have been launched on Windows PC before, some of them were brought over to console, so far AoE 2DE and AoE 4 have made their way over. That's not the case here. Retold is launching concurrently across Xbox Series X, S and PC, with control support on the latter from day one. Speaking after I was victorious in the demo, twice, UN emphasized that while the team has taken great care in retelling the original game and its Titan-focused expansion, there is more to come. The Chinese civilization, which was added as DLC to the original game, not original game, was not exactly well received, and the team sees an opportunity in redoing things this time around. As such, the Chinese are being completely redesigned for Age of Mythology Retold's first expansion, while a second expansion has been promised to be in development, with both expansions being bundled in the game's premium edition. I wasn't given any spoilers, but UN does note that they have a number of options across all of the world's mythology, adding that even outside of paid content, launch is just day one and that we're going to keep updating and adding as long as people keep playing. You wanted to say the L is there extra, right? It's supposed to be paying. And they're starting to pay less and less in Age of Empires 2, by the way, in the DLCs. How did he actually word this? The number of options across all, adding that even outside of paid content. Is that supposed to be meaning they want to be doing free content? No, well, they haven't done anything like that, really. So, that's a bit weird wording in there slightly. I'm keenly aware that as fun as it was, this demo doesn't show the economic side of this strategy game, yeah. And I'm curious to see how any rebalancing has affected slower paced skirmishes or even portions of the campaign. Even so, I'm excited and I can't wait to play this in full when it launches later this year. So yeah, this was just like some kind of article. If somebody's having some new ones, please let me know. We can maybe potentially have a look at them as well. Otherwise, well, we have seen finally some kind of useful info that we can maybe base a few things upon. But yeah, the performance is definitely looking slightly sketch. No, for example, right about now, on Boys Discord, there's right about now the picture and how actually Arkantos and Athena are looking in the campaign. But for the cinematics, so they're comparing the ones that are actually in... A second. This is in the original game for the cinematics. That's how they look there. So they are comparing the ones that are in the game when you play, and then they remove it. But you can see right now already those for the cinematics are actually fairly high quality. So that comparison, of course, wouldn't be that kind to them. So they probably be in a bit picky. The same as I mentioned in Age of Empires 1 Definitive Edition. They were, if I remember correctly, they were straight not really true. And they just kind of didn't choose the correct resolution. They chose purposefully a low one instead of the best one that could have been there. So yeah, this definitely doesn't look as bad, right? And this is the original game. Where do we have it on the video, the comparison they show? So this is right about now how it looks. And what they are comparing, I think these are the in-game models. But for the cinematics, it actually looks this way. So it's not entirely that bad, right? So being picky, aren't we? But that's what they have done before, as I said. They've not really been too honest about it. So, do we have some kind of further news somewhere posted that we could have a look at? Somebody has something that want us to be showing again. Or something else. Maybe it also looks like it. I wonder if maybe it's gonna be basic zoom, what we have seen in that game as well. Like this one. If this is gonna be like the normal level of zoom, that's really something they should have showcased in my opinion. But maybe they do know why, because of FPS drops. So maybe there's a reason. But yeah, seems like it maybe you don't have anything too much more at this point, and maybe you're gonna be therefore getting into some Age of Mythology community games on Woobly now to have some kind of fun with AoM for the Wednesday session. But yeah, this was a good presentation in my opinion. Not really anything too bad to say about that. In my opinion, it was also fairly decent on topic. Weren't going like egregiously to pretend how they like care a lot about like the community and stuff. That wasn't anything too much there. So I'm fairly happy that they weren't doubling down on obvious lies. But yeah, I guess that's gonna be that for it. For the information, doesn't seem like there's gonna be any kind of the article currently. There's some kind of news on Age of Empires, some announcements, or is it just about the video? That's about just the video. And also probably later gonna be looking at also the Ara, because that's a civilization-like game, and I'm very much looking forward to these types of games as well, so that might be also a bit interesting. Okay, so if you're gonna be interested in some, well, quality Age of Mythology fun, then stay around. We're gonna be casting some games. And maybe if there's gonna be some kind of news and articles down the line, we can go back potentially to it as well. So, happy that we don't have too many nonsenses as there were in the league, about that there are not any kind of huge amount of changes as far as the, for example, hit points that look very scary there in the league. Here we definitely see that myth units are gonna be made, no, kind of like stronger, but for example, Petsuchos is having lower attack. But generally they look stronger, they're gonna be easier to make with uncapped favor, and probably therefore faster favor gathering I will be expecting, because otherwise, not sure if that would be having too much of a sense then, the extra got powers. No, are we gonna be having to wait how it plays and how it's actually balanced? Because from what we have seen and what they were talking about, it does not feel like they have too much of a understanding of how the game is actually competitively played. To be completely honest, it did not look that way. It was just like classic campaign gameplay. And as you can see, that quite a bit differs. So anything is good for single player, but for the multiplayer, there are certainly huge challenges that we have already named when we are knowing what kind of changes are coming. And this does not really mitigate them. It's gonna maybe opens up some more direct questions, what could be curious. But overall, at least it seems like it's not gonna be completely something different. So I'm happy for that it's gonna be still somewhat recognizable. I'm still a bit questioning how it's gonna be even working with the special powers for the myth units, because it seems like it might be a bit of a control hell. Because at this point, if you're gonna be imagining the game now and how it works, then you have low amount of myth units, right? Because you are limited by pop limit. So therefore, in that scenario, it's not too hard to imagine you're gonna be able to click the special abilities one by one. But if you're gonna be having the scenario as in the campaign, where you have like 20 Petsuchi, and you're gonna be having, imagine, I don't know, some kind of 15, for example, Medusae or whatever kind of nonsense is, how are you expecting to be actually managing all of that, right?
Snow.
So, for example,
that's gonna be like complete another nightmare.
Upgrade. Each time
So
you upgrade different ages, you get
gonna be having this kind of amount of myth units, and theoretically it's gonna be possible with the high pop limit and probably reduced pop for the myths. I don't know. It's gonna be kind of funny, it seems to me. I guess going through the hail, through the graphics, but okay. That's actually kind of nice effect, if you can see here. How they're hitting in different spaces on the gate, and each of the hits is having its own target space there. That's kind of cool. There is a cool little effect. Of course, eater of performance, but there are gonna be probably plenty of them. Also, it's interesting we didn't see, for example, like migdals and buildings working and having some kind of signification that they are active. Like in the other DEs and in Age of Empires 4, you having some kind of like golden rain if the building is active. I don't think we have actually seen it here, unless the buildings really weren't active. I'm not entirely certain if there's some kind of good point where I could maybe even tell. Probably not too much. So I guess that's still gonna have to remain to be seen, I guess. Okay, so I guess that's gonna be that for it for this segment. So Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this look from Xbox Games Showcase deep dives into Age of Mythology Retold with Ernst Yuan and Emma Bridle. So thank you for that. And who are actually the hosts, so that maybe you can be thanking them as well. They don't seem to be necessarily named here, which is a bit of a shame because I always... Oh, there they are. There they have the name Malik Prince, Xbox Podcast host, and Jen Panatoni. So thanks for the interview. No, and yeah, see you later then. If you're gonna be on YouTube right now, we're gonna be continuing with some Age of Mythology.